Hello, this is ThoughtDrought.
Where your thoughts get drained.
Damn, I forgot to hit the recording.
Alright, well that part is no longer in the history. Well, it is.
Yeah!
But it's not in our history book.
Well, it'll be on the upload.
Yeah, okay, yeah, in the upload.
So where are we going today? You want to go after someone we love and respect? Or do you want to ease into it?
Let's ease into it.
Candace Owens, then.
Candace
we don't
Owens.
respect her.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's her guess that went a little wild. So here we have Twitter, because everything's on Twitter. Rip threads. They're trying, but not really.
And as soon as they add the other color on there, which is going to be minor.
What?
Start from the top.
Started from the bottom, now we're here. Hold on a moment. Typical fucking Twitter. Give me a moment. Fuck it, we're gonna use my Twitter.
Was there,
Yeah, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter all that much.
no doxing information, or yes doxing information?
A little bit.
Oh, no, Twitter.
I mean, it's just our email. I mean, I don't actually mind our public email being out there because it's on our business requests.
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't like that random ass email showed because
Yeah.
of the fucking websites. It's very hard to manage.
So here we have Jason Campbell's post where he shows off a Candace Owens guest who said some
Viagra? What the fuck?
Oh god, yeah, okay. Viagra's trending on Twitter for some reason.
Sorry, folks.
On
ADHD.
July 16th, 2023.
When a woman in the army can't get an abortion where she's stationed and needs to travel to get one. Oh, we're gonna talk about this later.
Oh boy. Alright,
We'll add that in later. Just a bit of a prelude.
The white part of...
Oh, we should actually be careful. They can have porn on here.
Yeah, it doesn't say, like, wait a moment.
Yep.
There might actually be the effects of Viagra. Alright, so here we have Candace Owens' guest saying some sort of authoritarian shit, you know.
Officer Tatum, man, all his opinions tend to be pretty
Authoritarian. I mean,
his whole thing, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this out on stream, but his thing is the typical thing. It's like, well, I'm black, so I can say the racist shit. It's fine.
oh.
So, because
I
he's a
haven't
cop.
seen as much of Officer Tatum. Did he talk to... Well, yeah, let's just see what
Actually,
he says.
let me make sure he's a cop. Officer Tatum. I
I mean,
remember him
it'd be weird
talking
to
about...
be called Officer Tatum if you've never been an officer.
Yeah, former Tuscan police officer. Okay.
So here we have Officer Tatum talking to Candace Owens, and Jason Campbell from Twitter showed that he was saying some
Holy shit, he has a
crazy stuff.
house.gov.
He has a damn. Well, that is a strong credential.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so we have Officer Tatum showing.
Alright, fuck that.
He does have a house.gov document. So
The government put him on a watch list. Or he
Or
is
he's
the
a
watch
watchman.
list.
yeah, I mean, yeah, like
They already accepted in our society. And as soon as they add the other color on there, which is going to be minor attracted person, you ask me, that's going to be the other little plus. It's going to be behind the plus. They're not going to have it on there. It's going to be behind the plus where nobody can see it.
That is some conspiratorial ass
that
shit
is
because
super.
you know, this is how I know Tatum doesn't talk to anybody in the LGBTQ community who disagrees with him. Because I remember when that shit came out, the entire LGBT community was basically against the maps. The minor attracted people.
Yeah, and like I would say
Because
most people would not
Most
be
people
in favor
are.
of grouping them in with the LGBTQ.
No one is, because the
Just-
argument's very simple. You can't love a child because, at least not in that way, because a child stops being a child. You can't. That type of love is automatically predatory.
Yeah.
Because you're only loving an aspect of them, and even and they're underage and they cannot tell. You're loving their vulnerability. That's. So it's not love.
Yeah.
And the
but
fact,
of course, if you're a Republican trying
don't
to
give
like
a fuck.
watchdog this shit on Twitter in a country of 300 million, in a place with millions to billion plus views out there, you're gonna find some crazy people, but it's not representative of the LGBTQ community. Like, sure, if you want to cherry pick a 1 out of a billion person, yeah, you can find some crazy. You can find anything.
Yeah.
When it comes down to literally hundreds of millions of people.
That is the truth about the internet, huh? Is that if you look hard enough, you can find anything to confirm or deny your beliefs.
But the only way to know if it's truly representative is if you either have statistics that show, or if you talk to a respectable amount of them, and you can get a feel for how their group is.
I mean, I think it's a little hard to determine, but I think there's a third way to look at the overall media. Like, I think it's kind of like the second one. You look at the overall media commentary.
Yeah.
Like, no one was for this MAPS shit when it happened. So, I don't know.
I mean, I wonder what he would say about Republican states and Republican houses.
Catholic churches and beauty pageants.
Churches and Republican-held state congresses where they...
Beauty pageants.
Where they keep the laws where adults can marry children intact. I mean...
Where little kids can go on stage and compete to be the most pretty princess.
Good old Southern beauty pageants.
Who do you think judge... You know, someone... I watched a YouTuber read this. Who do you think judges those? Who do you think the kind of people...
Crazy fucks.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm sure there's a few out there who are just random, like, you know, little... What was it? Little bodies? Or no? Busybodies. With nothing... Ironically, with nothing to do.
Yeah.
But, like, it's a little sus.
It is very sus.
It's like, why is this your call? Ah, yes! You could have judged cheerleaders. You could have judged architecture. You could have judged people doing jumps and flips. No, you decided to judge children.
And I wonder if Officer Tatum will ever judge, you know, the Catholic Church or other churches, you know,
he's a proud
predators
Catholic
against children.
He's a proud Christian Catholic, or some variant of the two.
Yeah.
Catholics are Christians and Christians are Catholic. Haha. Get mad, Christians, Catholics.
Catholics are the original. All right, you know, if you get down to it,
but we call it we call it Christendom. We don't call it Catholicdom because it's dumb.
All right.
Add that color to the flag. They're going to be getting to adhere to that, and the government is still going to have to celebrate that month-long holiday. We have gotten ourselves to a point of no return.
Hold on, let's rewind. That whiplashed me a little.
It's almost celebrating it.
And the government is still going to have to celebrate that month-long holiday.
So it's basically saying that, you know, MAPS is going to be behind LGBTQ, and then when they have LGBTQ month, they're going to be celebrating, you know, the predation of minors. That is just crazy. That's
great, Officer Tatum. And because you're an officer, I'd hope you have some proof, or am I supposed to just know because I know? Or I had to feel anger deep down in my heart, because that's really what these people rely on, right? I had to feel angry, to be mad.
It pains my brain.
Your brain?
Brain hurts.
Internet rot.
Yeah.
We've gotten ourselves to a point of no return. And I hate to say this, but the return to logic and I'm going to get killed over this, but the return to what we should be, it has to be a lot more strict than what we're willing to go.
Yeah, see, the problem with logic, though, Andrew, no, not Andrew, sorry, Tatum, Andrew, fuck, what's wrong with me, sorry, Officer Tatum, is that a free society, like democracy, is predicated on free thinkers. Free thinking should not be uniform because it's no longer free thinking. I mean, that was the whole point of breaking away. That was the whole point of Enlightenment thinking, was to break away from old thought, to have thought that is more useful to us. At the end of the day, that's what logic really is. It is a tool. And if you limit the tool, it is useless. So, just your very words are anti-democratic, they're anti-enlightenment, they're anti-American. America was built on the Enlightenment. This is anti-American. Borderline fascist. So, men have to be one way and there's no other way to be. It's like, because you got to define it. People like you get to define what we get to be, what the whole world gets to be. No. You don't get to define shit.
We'll have 2 more minutes of this.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep on going. I'm sorry. He's triggering me.
Yeah. Triggering me. Right at the heart.
Talking about strict to the point where a president says that homosexuality...
We have 5 more videos. We're going to be here for a while. Goddamn.
...is a mental illness like it was in the 70s. To the point where people who are homosexual cannot do these things in society.
Being left-handed was a mental illness.
Yep.
Like, shit changes because science gets better. You literally talked about logic, but you can't understand that logic progresses.
And he talks about how he's going to get killed for saying this, but he literally wants to make a group of people be omitted from jobs, from being able to do things in society. Yeah, it's like, hey, you know, like as a person who wants to commit fascist authoritarian policies against a subgroup of people, oh yeah, he's going to get shot. Like, he wants to be the man controlling the subgroup. Like, I mean, he's like,
he wants to control everyone. He wants to control all men. You have to be this way, and there's no other way to be. And if you're any other way, you can't participate in society. That's kind of what he just said.
Yeah.
If you read through the lines just a little tiny bit. But we got 2 more minutes of this shit, so let's go.
As a country, we're not willing to do that. If we were willing to do that,
What do you mean you can't do these?
Okay, I'm sorry.
He's gonna start being like, wait, hold
No,
on.
sorry. No, nothing. Sorry. His legs.
Yeah.
God damn.
Smooth.
Not even thighs, bro.
I mean, what, short shorts? Should men not be able to wear short shorts like that, showing so much skin?
Well, okay, that is kind of fruity.
Like, you know, if you want to go back to traditional masculinity, you should just be able to wear fucking jeans.
That's kind of fruity, actually. Yeah,
and that's the spectrum of masculinity, right? Like, why are you showing off your thighs? Like,
they're pretty good fucking thighs.
Dude,
look at them fucking thighs.
Certainly puts on the lotion.
Brother does squats.
Yeah,
brother does squats.
I mean, he is pretty fucking fit.
Jesus, the dude is a fucking meat slab.
Legs a little thin though, but
yeah, you gotta work on your calves, my guy.
Yeah, but it's hard to do.
I mean, it could just be genetic. Some people just have skinny looking calves.
It'd be like that.
Yeah, it does be like that.
These things decide.
like meaning that marriage is between a man and a woman. So if you're gay, you can be a civil union, but it's not going to be marriage.
Yeah, I wanted you to qualify it because then someone would take that clip and be like, he is saying that gay people cannot go to the grocery store.
But he's just saying they can't get married. By the
and
way,
he said roles, things. I mean, can you list the other things they can't do? Because he's saying there's multiple things, not just one.
Just gonna say it now, Christians. Marriage was before Christ walked the earth. It was a governmental process.
And you go far back enough, they would say blacks couldn't marry whites. Yeah, that used to be against Christianity.
Gays couldn't marry. Interracial couples couldn't marry. Yeah, I mean, shit. Like, if we want to go back far enough, slave marriages weren't even, like, real marriages. It's whatever.
Really stupid, because nobody really know if you're gay.
I don't like using slave references, though, because it's too obvious for me on a level. I feel like just interracial marriage in general is good enough, because it's like, let's be real. White people marrying was never the issue that needed to be regulated. Interracial marriage was to limit what other white people can do, to limit the social mobility of darker skinned people. Because frankly, if you ever looked at the history of South America, the mestizos, that's how they gained social influence and power, is that they married up into different classes until they were half Spanish, basically.
Yeah.
So that's why the interracial laws existed, was to limit their ability as a class. But whatever. History sucks. Who cares about history? Certainly not Tatum.
You got the gay on your forehead. Like, no.
Fuck.
Know you're gay, but it's like,
you go back one. He was doing the Ben Shapiro argument, saying that nobody really knows if you're gay. So you go back.
I got it.
Yeah.
Would take that clip and be like, he is saying that gay people cannot go to the grocery store.
No, that's completely stupid, because nobody really know if you're gay. You got the gay on your forehead. Like, no. Most people want to know you're gay, but it's like these institutions where they want to be validated in is not a real thing. You're homosexual, you have a mental illness, you should be treated as such.
Based on what? Based on you, a non-therapist, non-scientist?
Does he believe that they should be institutionalized? It's
yes,
like you can't really go to a grocery store when you're in the fucking mental hospital.
Yeah.
Well, we're not saying you can't go to the mental hospital. We're saying that you can go to the fucking asylum. Yeah, that's what they're... Yeah, okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Don't want to be misrepresented, right? Just don't want to be misheard.
He was an officer.
Yeah.
Transgender, you're dealing with gender dysphoria. That's a mental illness. You need to be treated as such. Those things. Yeah,
but the hypocrisy of your position is that the therapists, the doctors, the psychologists will all tell you what to do, gender affirming care, and then you'll just say no.
I just find it crazy how their scale of what's crazy and what's not. Saying that a gay person can't go to the grocery store, that's crazy. But saying that a gay person has to go to the mental asylum for being gay, that isn't crazy.
I love their appeals to logic, too, because their appeals to logic go, well, logically, based on science, well, no, the scientists are liars, but based on other science...
Well, if you go to Michael Knowles, and he says that most science is fake, and then they talk about you shouldn't trust the institutions, but only when they say that gays are, like, they have mental illness.
Yeah.
No, it's very selective and cherry picking. They're like, we want traditional old science back when the sun wasn't the center of our solar system. Back when it's like Earth centric. You know,
yeah,
back
our
when
science,
the good book said what was true. Yeah,
dude, our modern science puts fuck it. Let's save all that for later. I don't.
Yeah.
We're talking about.
That's
talking
another
about this.
video.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Tatum, I hate the appeals to logic and the appeals to science, but you know full fucking well they wouldn't listen to those guys.
Back when leeches could fix headaches, you know.
We'll get to that. I have a lot to say on that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, isn't that great though? Where it's like you appeal to scientists, but we know for a fucking fact he wouldn't listen to them.
Yeah.
With the sociologist, he's probably the same kind of guy who would turn around and say social science isn't a real science.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, albeit for me to make so many assumptions, but you know,
are not celebrated; they're treated, and it's going to be hard to kind of put that on society today. Just imagine if the Supreme Court overruled or overturned gay marriage.
Maybe they would burn.
I think that it's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's probably going to cause the Conservative Party to struggle, but it's going to happen.
Yeah, keep doing that. Shoot yourself in the foot.
You know, in the same line of logic for
the trans issues.
Well, also for interracial marriage was lumped in with also gay marriage. So there was a really big problem with Clarence Thomas. They were pointing out that he has an interracial marriage. His wife is white, and they were saying that his marriage could be on the chopping block because if you know the same line of logic, you should be able to marry who you want. It is up to you. You know, it hurts my brain.
These people are the same group of people who talk about freedom all day and government overreach, and these.
But
are
you literally want to make it.
They want to regulate who you fuck.
Yeah.
Like, and not like they want to regulate the adults you fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They want to regulate the shit you say, the stuff you watch. These people are some of the biggest fucking, like, what would you call it? The government security camera.
Mm-hmm.
They're so big on the surveillance state.
They'll say stuff about how the left is intolerant, but you literally want to put a subsect of the Americans in fucking asylums.
Yeah, so you know, people out there who might actually listen. Just like on one hand, the left cancels people from speaking at public events. On the other hand, the right just wants to take your ability to marry someone of a different race
and put
away.
homosexuals in asylums.
That too.
Like
you can't marry.
Who's less tolerant?
No. Hear me out. You can't marry black people or Asian people if you're white, and if you do, you go to the asylum because you're obviously mentally ill.
Uh-huh.
So that's the world the Republicans want. And they want a world that they don't listen to science and they just get to make up whatever fucking solutions they want to whatever problems they make up. It's great. Their
you
world's
could make
fantastic.
the argument that Candace Owens may not fully agree with the guest. What is there to platform him? But if you're going to platform him, at least have
no. Candace Owens agrees with this shit.
Yeah, probably.
Affirmative action was one of them, and the next thing is going to be gay marriage because it's not protected. It's not the same as marriage between a man and a woman of different races. Gay marriage is something different.
It was the same
Why is it
arguments.
something different?
It was the same Bible arguments that hey, you can't mix the clans, you can't
mix the tribes.
the tribes, you can't mix the races, you can't mix the skins.
Why is it different, Tatum? You gonna say? You probably
the objective was purity. All right,
he's not going to explain. How much you want to bet?
Yeah, I know he's not.
And we have to be so harsh.
Just went right over that. Why is it different, Tatum? How is it different? Can you say why, or are you just going to fucking skip right over that? Fuck explaining.
If we want to get back to what's right, and I don't think we're willing to do that.
Well, you know, it's fantastic when you speak in vague terms because you don't got to stand by shit. This is awkward. This is ironically some cowardly shit to say because if you have these specific standards and say them, it's like, oh, well, he kind of did say them on a level. I just wish he would be more direct. He's beating around the bush. There's a lot of people he wants to just ban from existence. And I think it's cowardly because he can't acknowledge the similarity between interracial marriage and gay marriage. What's the difference? He couldn't explain it because there is no difference. They're two adults. They wanted to marry. That's it. One is gender. One's based on race. See, it's that Christian shit. This is what I mean. Christians, like fundamentalists, appealing to logic is the most laughable shit to me because they have no logic based. Their logic is Bible logic. Their logic is someone made it up and wrote it down. So there you go. That's Tatum.
And specifically the
hate
King
him.
James Bible, because there's so many other Bibles you could have chose from.
Oh, they can.
But
never,
that one's right.
Got to choose from the white man's Bible.
Mm.
I'm sorry to go there, but no, I'm not actually. Fuck that.
I mean, the same book was used to put you down back during the time
Yeah,
of slavery, or the
you
time of interracial marriage. Like it's
You chose the slaveholder's Bible, man. Like whatever. That Bible's shit. We have a million reasons to get rid of it.
yeah.
Even if you're a Christian, even if you are a actual modern day Catholic or Christian, there are a million reasons to rewrite the book.
If you can cherry pick it to do slavery, I don't think it's that good.
Well, there's also so many, like, I made this point a million times, but there's so many apocryphal texts that were left out that they should really be added back in, but they're just not going to. So, all right, video or okay, let's do a feel good one.
All right, something to feel nice about. So birds are
Yeah.
fighting back against urbanization.
Fuck them up.
And the specific one is targeting birds.
1 second.
Because it's...
Making sure it doesn't decide to
Alright.
just shoot our email into the fucking
Alright,
public
so let's
again.
restart that. So birds have learned to use anti-bird rails for their nests. So you see all
Yeah.
this spiky stuff that you would see on top of buildings and signs. Oh, they're using that for their homes. Like they've basically said F you to urbanization and things attacking them. It's the ultimate adaptation, the ultimate evolution of the birds. All right, they used anti-bird material for their homes. It's fantastic. Bravo. Nature wins. Attack
Life
of the birds.
will find a way.
I gotta say, it's a joke, really. Like it is. It's ironic.
It reminds me of birds chilling on power lines.
Yeah, it's like just fuck you, fuck the humans that are trying to basically make them extinct.
Screw it. We'll try. Okay. I'll tell you a story. So, on my neighborhood, there's a straight line of power lines right over the street with no trees or nothing to cover it. And I left my car under the power line one time. The entire car, from like the hood, the top, the trunk, that whole motherfucker was covered in bird shit.
So now you
They
anti-bird?
just fucking bombed my shit.
Yeah, it sucks.
Oh my
Well,
god, man. I had to wash the car 3-4 times, and even when I washed it that many times, I had to go
Do
in
it
with
by
like
hand.
a cloth and
Yeah.
get the rest out. It was so annoying. And it was just so much shit. And one time we parked under a nest. It was weird. My girlfriend, she told me about it. She's like, "Oh, there's a giant like bird shit next to our car," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like giant bird shit? Like there's a big." And I went out there. There's a giant. It looks like someone threw paint on the ground, and some of it hit our wheel. There's just a giant blob of bird shit on the wheel and on the ground next to the wheel. And yeah, we should go kill the birds.
So I am pro-bird.
I'm anti-bird.
It's great that they're fighting back.
They shat on my car a whole lot.
I mean, it does suck, but they're part of the ecosystem.
I wish I was allowed to
And
shoot a
it's
pellet
pretty
gun in
metal.
the city, but I'm not. If I was, I'd totally be shooting fucking pigeons right now.
Try
I don't
as
care.
you will, but
I don't
they'll
care
find
if-
a way. Nature finds a way.
I don't care if I'm paid 10 cents a pigeon. That's fine.
Just less than a bullet.
No, that's like... No, you get like 500 bullets for like $5. It's... Actually, that
Depends on
might
which bullet
be...
you're using.
Huh?
Depends on which bullet you're using.
It's like a little pellet rifle.
No.
Now you want to use a fucking 22?
No, we're just using 45s. In the
Oh
middle
my
of fucking
gosh. Just
the city.
exploding the bird.
Mm.
Jesus.
To show your hatred.
Yeah. Just
But they
showing
stand
them.
against us,
They did.
making anti-bird spikes into nests.
Okay, what the hell is this?
So there's a Florida Japanese steakhouse that has meth in their soy sauce.
Ooh,
And that's...
meth!
That's
Meth.
truly Americana, all right?
Orange chicken,
Going back to the
baby.
days of Coca-Cola having cocaine in it, like...
Who doesn't
Who's-
want some meth in
Yeah.
their rice?
And of course it's in Florida, because that's where all
Wait,
the
wait,
crazy stuff happens.
what? Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
The investigation was closed and no charges were filed because they were unable to determine who contaminated the food due to lack of witness observations.
So no one saw it, nobody done did it, nobody know who done did it. All's good. All's good. Look, who did it? Who are you gonna say did it? Did Jerry do
What the
it?
fuck is going on?
Come on. Did Steven do
Older
it?
men using this for their manhood.
Like, I just think it's American, alright? Anyone can be an American.
and eat meth.
Look, Coca-Cola used to have, Coke in it. Yeah. Why can't soy sauce have meth in it? All right.
I just miss the days when you could just go to any like American city.
And just buy drugs at the drugstore.
Buy like an 8-ball.
Yeah, just old Americana. The world conservatives want to go back to, right? Back in the good old days.
You're telling me like that was the bad part.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't the bad part. The rampant killing and gun violence. Was still the
yeah, all the lynching and the storms at the home. Yeah, no, that was the bad part.
All right, I guess we can fold these two into one clip.
Yeah.
Sorry, Japan meth store. We don't really know. Like, obviously, this is bad. Don't put meth.
I mean, you guys must have a tight-knit group of workers if no one's willing to rat each other out.
Yeah, that is crazy. The fact that...
Unless if it was everybody. Like everyone was doing meth.
Yeah, it was like a part of the whole scheme.
Yeah, it's like everybody knew. It's an open secret. But, that's just speculation.
You mind passing me the Rockstar?
Yeah.
Actually, could you...
Was this one yours or was that one yours?
Yeah, that one's mine. It's already opened.
Oh, okay.
Alright, we're gonna move on.
I just didn't want to give you the one that touched my neck,
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah,
we're gonna move on, but before we move on, we're gonna do some stuff real quick and some prep.
Yeah.
We'll be right back. You have to...
I guess right now the camera's off because...
We're doing some behind-the-screen stuff.
Yeah.
Very important. Big important.
Behind the scenes.
Only professionals would understand. So, there are a few...
Stuff is not for camera.
Yeah, well, at least I'll know this will be easier to edit because I'll just see a blank screen in the corner.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah. You want to...
It was dangerous.
All right. It is. Now, we are... You want to use mine for right now?
Huh?
You want to use mine for now?
Sure.
Okay. Just give me some of that later on.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks. If we're still allowed. All right, we are back. Got our very professional things doing.
Mm-hmm.
It was, don't worry, it didn't include any ass fucking or gay stuff because that's
despite
gay.
all the allegations.
Actually, okay. Here, it's time for some parasocial stuff. As young guys, we. So I was like, "What are you going to talk about with us?" Hold on.
The tea. No.
When we were young, we talked on the phone a lot.
That just sounds wrong. It's like when we were young. We were on the telephone.
We were 10 on the cell phone.
Yeah, with our legs twisted.
Called us gay back then.
On the bed, just...
Talking about girls.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about girls and memes and...
At Carl's Jr. Oh,
yeah, there's times we hung out at Carl's Jr. for like 8 hours. Literally half a day would go by.
Yeah, those were the days.
There you go, guys. You want to get into the mind of us. We literally hung out at a freaking Carl's Jr. We should have went outside.
Literal hours.
We should have fucking went outside.
Well, Carl's Jr. is AC.
It did, and it was summer, and it was hot.
And in summer, it's just like you just want to be inside, but you're like young. You can't really go to like a bar.
Everywhere's hot.
Fucking high school. Like,
frankly, yeah. When you're a high schooler, man, everywhere like wants to get rid of you except for a mall
and parks.
Yeah, but like.
But even then, like sometimes when you're at a park, some shit can happen.
Yeah.
And then you gotta leave. Like you shouldn't be there.
Especially if you go to one of the more hood parks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right, on to the next one.
You gotta be out of there.
Leave your communities. Leave it to die.
like, I'm not going to stay to get caught, you know? That's
Oh!
just not good.
Hey,
life
it's a jellyfish.
reflexes. Oh, yeah, it was a jellyfish and a Florida man. What's he going to do to the jellyfish?
Oh no! So, alright. What's the next article you want to do?
I'm not sure.
Video. Okay, let's start out with video or article.
Let's do a video.
Alright, video. Unfortunately, I was going to do the actor thing, but...
There's Michael Knowles, and there's
Oh,
TJ,
no.
voting for 2024. Oh, there's also the commentator talking shit on the natives.
Oh, man, there's a
So
lot
Jason
of
S.
videos.
Campbell, thank you for your amazing contribution to left-wing media, showing all the crazy stuff right-wingers say.
We should interview Jason Campbell.
If he would ever have us, yeah.
I know! Please, Jason, talk to us. We love your work. We are big fans. Hold on. It keeps doing the thing.
Mhm.
I'm gonna just go on mine. I'm ready.
Fair.
Oh, I actually do follow him on my account. That's good.
So here we have Jason Campbell's post about the Rumble Podcaster. This Rumble Podcaster says some crazy stuff about the Native Americans and how they should have been more productive.
Let's hear it.
It is staggering to me how these people choose to.
Oh my god, his neck.
This is Alex Jones.
You shaved your
This is
beard
Alex
in
Jones
the way, in like literally the perfect way.
Yeah, this is Alex Jones clone. This is what it is.
God, yeah, but it's worse because like, it's worse in every way though.
It's all the virtue signals in the back. Warning, does not play well with liberals. Yeah, I mean, okay, sure.
You know, oh god, we were talking about it before the show, but I bought a balaclava for cosplay, and half of me would just be like, should I just wear that one of these days? That would
All
be
the
my
virtue signals.
That'll be my virtue signal, man. You know, like, yeah, power to the people or some
It's
other
truly
cringy shit.
anti-government.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, my core bomb gone off. It did.
Yeah.
As if removing the statues of Andrew Jackson in Jackson County, Missouri, will what, somehow right the wrong? Yeah, sure. Did Andrew Jackson kill a lot of Native Americans? Absolutely.
Yes.
You know what might have stopped that? If the Native Americans had spent less time hitting the peace pipe and more time inventing guns.
So
They should have invented antibiotics too. Apparently, you know, they should have been able to stop the resurgence of the Black Death.
no, we're gonna use this as a learning moment. I can be
All right.
angry, but I've
Learn.
spent the last 10
All right.
minutes being angry.
Peace.
Peace, my
Put
brother.
into the world what you want. All right.
So, two things. One, the Native American population was never large. Compared to the Americans on the continent, especially by Andrew Jackson's time, we outnumbered them by a lot.
But
I'm pretty
wasn't a
sure
big
the
part of
size of
that
our...
due to the disease.
Well, no, even when we got there, though, like, even, like, partially the disease, yeah, but just the way we live.
Yeah.
Like, Europeans tend to bunch up in cities.
Yeah.
High production rates of
Urbanization.
food. Yeah. High industrial rates, that type of thing. We just have a lot of people being born in Europe. So even if the disease wasn't there, we would have still outbred them eventually in population. But yeah, there was all the wars, all the disease. Their population's been dwindled down to a nub with all those things combined. And yeah, Europeans just outbred them, frankly. Like, that is true. Just the way they... Because they're dirty. They live in fucking big cities. Okay, the Indians are actually clean compared to us. But, yeah. And the reason why they didn't make guns was because the United States put active embargoes on a lot of the tribes owning guns. Tribals couldn't own guns. Tribals had to go to Christian schools. They kidnapped their fucking children. Would you go to war if they had your child?
Also, isn't it a better world where there's less military power? You know, less things to kill other humans with. Isn't it just a better world where you're just less militarized?
I mean, I think self-defense is a human right.
It is, but you can self-defend yourself with a sword and bow. You get a lot of less death out of it than a gun.
I mean, look what happened to the Indians.
Yeah.
But you're not wrong. The mentality is self-destructive in the end.
I mean, yeah, the mentality of you gotta prepare for war because other people coming from the fucking sea, literally mountains from the ocean, will come with guns, germs, and steel. Yeah, I mean, if only they had thought ahead. Yeah, it's... God.
I
If
mean,
only they
no,
made
even by
fucking
this time, though.
antibiotics.
Even by this time, though, the Indians have fought multiple wars with not just the Americans who've been on the continent and conquered a third of it, but with the Europeans a long time before that.
I'll say this, they did some crazy shit
Yeah.
shooting from horses. So.
Oh no, the Indians were amazing fighters, and they were even useful. Like they innovated a lot of tactics, and hot take. I made this take a lot of times before, but a lot of their social progress, we ended up catching up to it like hundreds of years later. They're like, even
the imagery of the arrows not being broken when put together, just like a lot of stuff.
We ended up like a lot of the things we aspired to be.
Yeah.
So they were always ahead of us in that way, in the more desirable way. We were ahead of them in military power, but that's only because Europe militarized so much so that kings can conquer the world.
The constant warring states. Also, they had better stuff for international trade, and they had cows, and they had more. Yeah, like there was a lot more going on in Eurasia.
We're getting really philosophical.
And we go to like why Eurasia would have.
Look, he already tuned out. People like him. Look, where's the brain at?
We could go into it, but
look, fuck it. Just back to insulting his parents.
I like how his hat even says loud majority. It's like if you're really the majority, then where were you at the fucking polls? Where were you at the voting ballot? I would say the right wingers have a stronger tendency to believe in the tradition to vote. He
was eating a bucket of fried chicken. Look at that
your
chin.
duty as an American, huh?
He was eating a bucket of fried chicken. Look at that fucking neck.
Look, let me see.
No, I'm going after cheap. I'm doing the cheap. I'm doing cheap shots because that entire history thing I just gave.
Smoking the peace pipe.
Yeah, it can go fuck itself. So whatever.
I am so sick and tired.
I'm gonna saw his appearance.
Of hearing this stupid argument from idiots.
Daniel shouldn't drinky on the podcast. Daniel gets angry.
Why didn't they make fucking ibuprofen? And why didn't they make penicillin? Why didn't they make
the U.S. acted active embargoes on them? Mm-hmm. Not to mention, the times are a little fuzzy, but America and the Indians didn't own the entirety of the northern continent. It was owned partially by the British and the French and the Spanish. So there were so many and the Mexicans at one point as well. So there were so many powers that like the Indians were basically crushed between two boulders. It was going to be the Americans from the east, Mexicans from the west.
That's the original World War, all right? That's the original World War.
You could argue. Actually, God, I don't want to talk about it.
I guess China wasn't there for it, but...
I was going to talk about the 30 Years' War, but never mind. Basically just like the biggest war in Europe. That should have been World War I, but that's... Again, do you think him and his neck care? Like I said, Danny shouldn't drinky. Danny gets angry when I drink, man. I hate... The hate comes out more, because it's like... Because I know these people don't give a fuck about any of the things you say.
They don't.
They don't. They don't give a flying fuck. Okay? Frankly, this guy's a dumbass. Okay? This guy's never read a freaking history book, and if he tried to, he'd call it SJW propaganda.
Just looking back at somebody like Marjorie Taylor Greene, a person that's actually in our fucking Congress... who says that, basically stuff before she was born, she doesn't know. It's too old, it's before my time.
It's not puckers.
Yeah, it's not relevant.
Ugh.
It's...
The hatred's coming out. It's coming out!
Yeah. Alright, we got another minute.
I hate this so much!
We have another minute. Since that you won. Alright, when a thief gets your catalytic converter, he won, right? I mean, he won. Your army, the police, and they don't get your catalytic converter back. Technically, that thief won. Is that his now?
Wait. What did he say?
Because he was saying that it's not stolen land, it's won land. It's like, sure, just the winners write the history books, right? Like,
That's not true. Nazis got to write their own history. Did you know that? Operation Paperclip.
Play-by-play, yeah.
Yeah, they got to write their own history books.
And to be fair, the Confederates got to write their own.
Oh yeah, the greatest participation
trophies. Because you look back at that
trophies.
point, where they got to stay.
We fought for states' rights. You fought for slavery. Okay, the fact that there's even a debate shows how much you guys muddied the waters. Okay, you guys fought for slavery. It was in every declaration of every statement of leaving the Union from every southern state.
I don't see the logic. And if somebody takes something from you and you're unable to get it back, that means that they want it. Like, okay, just say that to every thief that gets away with all your shit.
Is that the world we want to make where might makes right?
I mean, that's the Republican mindset where might does make right.
And listen, a lot of the time, as far as I understand it, the land back Indian people, they don't even want that much land back. They just want enough to be autonomous.
And they also would like if you don't build an oil pipeline that destroys their land.
That too.
You know, it'd be really cool if you don't just spill fucking liquid death onto their fucking water.
Largely speaking, their requests and their wants are very reasonable considered what we've done to them. And we should have granted it decades ago.
Yeah.
But we are actively going in the opposite direction. So the government agrees with you anyway. So maybe you are the loud majority, but the bitching from you makes it even worse because the government, they just built a pipeline and it bursted. We keep fucking them over. Oh yeah, we just ruled that the SCOTUS just ruled that Indians, I think it was the Navajo, don't have a right to the Colorado River.
Yep. So now they have to make deals,
wheel and deal
states.
with every fucking state involved in the Colorado.
Left to the wolves.
But they aren't involved. They aren't a state.
Yeah.
We just second class. Like, that's my point. So all your bitching, like, this is like a problem. We fucked them over and we don't stop fucking them over.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why the hate's coming out.
Look, he doesn't care about them. Just
fat-chinned bastard. I'm sorry, I'm gonna keep going back to that. You are a wide-faced man. I was 260. I can talk shit about him. Your face is fucking wide, brother. Goddamn.
You also lost your land because most wars were either fought over land, resources, or religion.
No, yeah, and you know how a lot of wars end, you dumb bastard. They end in settlements. They end in what's the word for
what, forced treaties?
Treaties. The treaties still.
Yeah.
The Indians forced to agree, and we couldn't even abide by our own word.
It's like when America wins a bunch of land in Mexico, and they're like, "Well, we'll just pay you for it."
Like we didn't only conquer them; we lied. We lied to them. It makes us dishonorable. Like it makes our word
the never-ending boundaries.
It makes our word
always
dirt.
receding and receding and receding.
Exactly. Like, we didn't just conquer them. That would be one thing. No, we conquered them, and then we lied to them. So, that's the real problem. I mean, at least you're being honest about your intentions, about your imperial intentions. Fuck them. Conquer them. They're second class. Stop bitching. You smoked your peace pipe and shooting arrows in the woods. Fuck you. I mean, glad you're honest, man. Cheers.
That's it, really. Hell, that's the only reason why we fight wars today. Land, resources, religion. Only reason we fight wars. Except now, it's a little bit more awkward when you take the land. As Vladimir Putin is finding out. It's a little bit more awkward when you go in and take the land. We won the land.
Yeah.
We didn't steal it.
We lied.
And first off, I got news for you, okay?
We wrote the treaty and then broke the treaty. We are lying sons of bitches. And we don't even have to do that much to make right.
You don't even care about treaty schmeedy. I mean, think about people like Tim Pool believes the sons of people who made the treaty shouldn't even have to follow it. You know?
Not
at the end of the
understanding
day,
the point of those treaties.
If he really does believe in might equals right, you know, treaties don't matter. If you can still take more.
Yeah, this is not a good world you want to build. This is a world where people die because
and
some
today,
asshole leader...
you have the biggest army, but the day after you might not. And that's the failure in the mindset, is that one day you might not be the mightiest. You know, one day they might come home to roost. And
one day you might be sending soldiers in the Ukraine with helmets that could be punched through and
body
body armor
Russia,
made out of scrap metal.
You become a paper tiger. The emperor has no clothes. Yada yada. You know, it's.
You know, a lot of Russian troops don't have body armor.
Like, as you know, the tall tales of history. You know, civilizations they come and they go.
That's the world he wants you to do.
One day they get their gray hairs and they fade. You know, they're not as big as they used to be.
Oh, God.
Warring Indian tribes routinely stole land from each other.
They did. And they also routinely formed treaties and confederations, and they also did that as well. I mean, we learned democracy from them. We like to pretend that we also got it just from the Greeks. The Greeks influenced our democracy, but do you know that our bicameral legislature, the fancy word for two houses, came from the Indian tribes. They had I believe it was a little brother and a big brother house, but it fundamentally worked the same way.
And you look at public viewing of Congress, it really is little brother, big brother. It's like House of Representatives is like the little Congress, and then Senate is the big boy Congress.
Exactly.
It's like you're not really a congressman unless
big boy
Senate.
Congress gets to form treaties, little boy Congress gets to do economies.
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. Because that was actually kind of a role of the old tribes as well. Point is, they taught us a lot about how to run our own country. Mm-hmm. So this narrative is, like I said, it goes back to the point I made. A lot of their aspirations we've aspired to as well. Luckily, we've actually met some of those goals. I think that's wonderful. People like this want to drag us back into the darkness. War and starvation and poverty. Just, no. And while he gets to sit back and fucking... Or he gets to be an officer that paid his way in, fucking sending the soldiers off to die. That's what he wants to fucking be. Armchair general. Like, whatever.
Then you should read a little bit further back in your history textbook.
The books you wanted to ban because they were SJW, you fat fucking cunt.
Don't tell that to Marjorie Taylor Greene, though.
Oh, God, I'm going to have to...
She doesn't believe in learning stuff before she was born. All right.
You know, I need to just... Oh, God, I'm going to have to censor so much. I need to get a sound for, like, the beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, we just make a noise.
I just hate...
Yeah, we could go...
You legitimately could do that.
Yeah, clanking metal or something.
Okay, I'll tell you... Fine, I'll tell you a little story since... Just because I'm getting angry at this, I want to tell a fun story. So, I took a few film classes when I was in college. And...
I only took one.
Yeah, I took like 2 or 3, like, production classes. Along with film history, obviously. The usefulest and the useful parts. Point is... I made my own sound effects.
Oh.
Yeah. I actually recorded my own sound effects. I recorded toilets. I recorded snapping, of rubber bands.
So when you record a toilet, do you, if you use somebody else's toilet, does that technically give them rights to the toilet noise?
I don't know.
How does that work? It's technically it was their toilet.
Basically, I'm just trying to say I made my own sound effects. I am a sound engineer. Wannabe sound engineer. It's great. You can do a lot of fun stuff with sounds.
It's nice.
I should try making stuff for the channel, actually. Maybe I should get back into it.
I mean, it would be like the H3 podcast where they always use noises.
Oh, that gets annoying, though. I don't like shock jockey radio. Where it's like...
Some of it's
hey
okay.
There.
Okay, yeah, I know when you get little noises. It's like fucking Johnny Test where they use a noise quip every 10 seconds. But, in some cases, in some ways, it could be okay. I can see a use for a toilet sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even in the beginning, your thoughts get drained. At the beginning of the stream, just like...
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
There's
oh, shit!
uses.
You just gave me an idea for the intro. Look at that.
There. Well, then again, there's the connotation of,
Or shit. No, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
But, I mean, being able to laugh at yourself, is also a really big part of...
Thank you, Kevin Smith. We came up with an intro because we got so angry at you, we needed to think about other things that made us happy. Thank you.
Just mind wandering away.
From the freaking pit of evil that is this guy.
We can go on to the next thing.
Yeah, let's go to the next thing. I'm going to write that down, though. Give me a moment.
Yeah, alright.
This is a history in ThoughtDrought. Intro idea.
Yeah, that's a nice intro idea.
TD opening line.
Certainly for starting it.
Plus toilet flush. Yeah, because I actually made my own. I made my own special effect noises.
We should probably also check if there's anything in chat.
Yeah, I'll check right now.
My guess is those that are. Probably didn't get as much views this time.
No, it did not. But I'll get around to posting some clips today or tomorrow. Probably today. Frames missed due to rendering lag. Oh well, that's great. I hope that's not screwing things up too badly.
Ooh, I mean, who knows?
Ooh, crap. Yeah, unfortunately, I forgot to call the shop over the week, so...
I mean, everything's in the fucking shop. My laptop's in the shop. Everything's in the shop.
Camera's in the shop. Yeah, shitty. Anyway. Alright, yeah, on to the next thing.
What do you want to do next?
Oh, man. See, I wanted to do the Actors Guild thing, but it's a bit of a saga. It's a bit of a multi-piece, so... I think we'll save that towards the end as well.
Can we do the Michael Knowles?
No, let's do a feel-good one real quick.
Oh, okay. Let's...
There was a world record I did not know this was a record.
Golden day for retrievers.
But I'm glad that this record got broken. Oh, yeah, there it is.
Okay, let's start that over.
No, you're good. They didn't see anything.
All right.
Anyway, here you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so here is the record for golden retrievers.
So the old record, okay, so they're doing that. But the old record, I believe, was like 366. Yeah. And then the new record is like 420.
Yeah, and this is for how many golden retrievers are together at the same location. Right?
Yes.
So that is, nearly 500?
Yes, they're
basically all together.
A field of good boys. Look at them all.
The best of boys.
My God.
Genetically engineered to be a good boy.
There's so many of them, man.
Like that's
they all have the same expression. Yeah. Like it almost looks like that one and that one are like photoshopped together.
Yeah, I mean that's how genetically engineered humans were. And, like that's what they did to them.
God, I hope
they're all twins.
You know, if I want to have the sad thought, I wonder how many of them are inbred.
Well, I mean, purebreds, by definition, right?
Purebreds tend to be.
Yeah, I mean, they all have the same genes.
Listen, man.
To be mutt is to date somebody that isn't your fucking cousin.
Adopt, don't shop. But at the same time, you know, I understand the appeal of getting a purebred dog. Yeah. But like my favorite.
Or if you do shop, go to Craigslist. Because, you know,
or Wish.
That's probably like.
Or Wish.
Yeah, or Wish. Yeah.
All I was going to say was that, you know, maybe this is just me, but my first dog was a Lab and Pit Bull mix, and it's an adorable mix. Stray dog. So, frankly, I think there's more satisfaction in adopting, but, you know. Isn't your dog also a mix?
Yeah, I don't know what she is.
There you go.
That's the beauty of a mutt. I think she might be like a terrier schnauzer mix, maybe, because she has like that beard.
Hey. Mutts may not be purebred, but they're pure of heart.
Yeah, I mean, they don't care as long as
they just want love. They don't have standards. As long as you love them, and that's why you got to adopt. Anyway, that was a good one.
That's a nice. It reminds me of the time when we walked up to an event, and this happened when we went to a park, and there was just a fucking field of Saint Bernards everywhere. And it just happened to be that there was a Saint Bernard rescue day at the park. And we're like, what? Why is there so many big boys here? You know, so many good big boys. And they're like, we're just here at Saint Bernard Rescue. You know, we're trying to see if you want to adopt a Saint Bernard. I mean, I could. But
no, I couldn't either. They're massive dogs.
Works. I hope that somebody somebody adopted one.
You need, unfortunately, to adopt, I'd feel like you'd need either A, some good money, or B, some space, which usually go hand in hand.
Yeah, and, you know, the deeper you are in a city, the less likely you are to even have the space for a St. Bernard.
Yeah. But, you know, St. Bernards, you know where I knew them from? Because they carried soup on their necks.
Oh, yeah. And sometimes beer. And
beer and other stuff.
And the barrel.
Little barrel.
They're also in the movie, was it Beethoven?
I think so, yeah.
There was like a Disney movie or something, like a kid's movie. It was fun.
Hold on, you know what? We're talking about them so much, let me just put them on screen real quick.
Yeah, St. Bernards.
Yep. They're really good dogs.
They're all good boys.
They're search and rescue dogs. So they're like the best boys.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Screw it. Since we're talking about search and rescue dogs real quick.
Yes. So here we have the St. Bernard. A very floofy, very trustworthy dog. I mean, they'll literally save you, all right? And they're big enough to do it. You see the one at the bottom there with
God the damn, 880 pounds.
They're big. You know?
That was me in high school, bro.
They can carry a fucking keg of beer to you when you're in the cold, you know? They're good animals.
Also, after those earthquakes in Turkey, the tragic earthquakes in Turkey, Turkey gifted Mexico a puppy, a rescue dog. So he's also going to go on to become one of the best boys. He's going to go on to rescue people.
Damn. And
be a narc. But you know what? We won't dwell on that.
Is that like a Serbian Shepherd or like a?
He's a German Shepherd, yeah.
Shepherd, yeah.
They're giving them a search and rescue doggy.
Wow.
Yep. He's a new search puppy.
Ones.
Yeah, so he'll be half narc and half rescue dog. Wow. When he's rescue dog, he'll be the best of boys. When he's a narc, you know, not as good, but still doing his job.
Good. This is just the.
He's wearing a little vest.
Yeah.
Look at that.
They're too good for us.
They are too good for us.
It's pure.
Alright. On to the next. Alright, Infinite Darkness. Let's go, Surgeon. surgeon gets caught up in malpractice.
So there's a surgeon that would literally stream her surgeries on TikTok, and some of them went wrong. Some of them were
infinite darkness.
Yeah, the infinite void of TikTok craziness is truly infinite. And she's getting in trouble legally. They're going after
obviously
laws and a bunch of other stuff against her. So she's probably not going to keep her license. Probably not going to.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
It is crazy what some people. What's crazy though is that you would figure someone like this is getting paid so much money that it's like, why would you even do this?
Yeah, but.
TikTok last year a doctor. Oh, never mind. This is something else. This is, I don't know. It's just it's a weird thing to engage in because
it is. But
why?
Could you imagine if one day you're on TikTok and you saw yourself on the cutting board for a plastic surgery, and then her fucking up, dropping your freaking nose cartilage on the floor, and like, let me put that back together, and then just there mashing it in, like it boggles my brain.
No, I like it.
It's like all the fears of when dentists put you under, like, what are they going to do to you with your mouth open like that?
Stream you screaming in fear.
Yeah.
Actually, okay, there's this video I saw, I forget the name of the guy, but he basically talked about the effects that, like, marijuana and loneliness have on people who go through surgery. It was a very interesting video, but basically, there was two big takeaways I had. People who smoke a lot of marijuana have to get more anesthesia. More painkiller. But another thing is people who are lonely and do drugs, they tend to come out of surgery anesthesia with a huge amount of panic. Like, they panic like crazy. They have a lot of fear going in, and they have a lot of fear coming out, versus people who don't smoke weed and people who aren't lonely.
Damn.
Yeah. It was very interesting. But another time we might be able to cover that. It's a really good video. It has lots of views, but it's it's not like we're helping anything.
Okay.
But it was a great video. All right, more infinite darkness and the corruption of our government. Lawyers with Supreme Court business paid Clarence Thomas aid via Venmo.
Yeah, Clarence Thomas is just a sea of corruption, and we can see it from his aide, who literally got paid through a Venmo by a lawyer who would eventually bring a court case to the Supreme Court. Nothing is going well in the Supreme Court, but you can see here that there's so many points of self-interest being made. I don't know how else to put it. Thomas Clarence has corruption all around him.
Ooh.
They say this was for
one of
Christmas
the lawyers.
Party. Yeah,
from
several lawyers.
Specifically from the ending the
raise conscious admission. So basically affirmative action.
Yeah, affirmative.
So the lawyers presenting the affirmative action case were also the same lawyers giving Venmo money to Thomas Clarence's aide. And they say it was for a Christmas party. But that's just it just seems too good to be true. Also, isn't there a conflict of interest when you're there at the Christmas party?
This should be impeachable.
Like, it reminds me when Thomas Clarence's wife was part of a Supreme Court case. And it's like, yeah, I won't refrain from doing a court case against my wife. It just, like, dude, conflict of interest is written everywhere. And you don't give a fuck. You don't care about the goodness or the holiness, the sanctity of the court, if you're willing to fight against or fight for your own self-interest.
Let's see. Former clerks,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, this is, there's
a lot of many stories.
Huh?
It's just one of many stories that,
It makes me sad that, groups like Project Veritas and Judicial Watch, two conservative groups that like to act like watchdogs and never talk about this type of stuff.
And people get crazy over the laptop of hell, and they'll talk about how Biden is paid off, Hillary's paid off.
Oh, but they have drugs in the White House, but it's like, man, they've all done drugs. Every last goddamn president.
So what do you think the SCOTUS is doing in their holiday getaways? It's like so many of these people do drugs.
They're above the law. Laws don't apply to them.
Like, who do you think is going to stop them? Like, nobody's going to stop. You're literally part of the highest court of the land.
Yeah. Who's gonna carry out the freaking legal sentencing? Like,
and they even said to Congress, "There's pretty much like nothing you can do to stop us." There was a committee for ethics against the Supreme Court, and they're like, "Well, technically, that's just a guideline, not a regulation." And it's like, okay, so Well, you're just saying the other branches of government can't, subject you to any...
No checks and balances for you?
Only when there's a supermajority.
Only when there's a president that can stack the House against you. But even then...
Well, even then, I don't think stacking the court would work.
I just don't think Biden has the balls, frankly. The cojones.
Well, I don't think stacking the court... Because it's a short-term goal. Like, short-term, it would work. Arguably not even to that great of effect. Because let's say you get somebody like Biden or Hillary, an establishment Dem, who's like, yeah, I'll stack the court. I'll put 12 instead of 9. Those 3 extra are going to be neo-lib Dems who are establishment Dems who care about capital and corporate interest. Maybe you'll get back Roe v. Wade, but in the coming years, they'll die. They might be replaced by a Republican, or the Republican will come and be like, 12, let's do 15.
Enough progress won't be done in the time.
And enough progress won't be done because neo-libs are incrementalists. They don't, they want to do everything slow.
So,
but also, the people who come in
you
are
came
going
around
to
to
be
my side a
corrupt.
little bit, huh? See, I just want to make a point.
Well, I'm just saying, if your point is to get a lot of things done in a short amount of time, because that's what stacking the course would be.
Yeah.
You're trying to get everything in before the next group comes in and puts in their stacked group.
That's my problem with neoliberal Democrats, is that you're right. Because, me and him have always had a debate between incrementalists and extremists. I think we both kind of agree that it's a bit of both.
Yeah.
But I think there are flaws in both ends. Extremists, they tend to be the guiding star in movements, but they also tend to be the most controversial members. While also, on the other end, neoliberals, they tend to lack ambition when they actually have power.
Yeah, but if you're going to be an incrementalist, at least have the rules and regulations to stop corrupt people.
But you need to be ambitious enough to actually push those laws.
That is also true. But then again, it's what are they going to do?
But at the same time, though, you can argue on the other end, extremists are ineffective because...
I don't think stacking the courts would work because at the end of the day, you're just going to have 3 more people who are Democrat, quote, quote, but are still very corrupt.
Probably Blue Dog.
Yeah, Blue Dogs. And the thing is, when you saw the Supreme Court come out against checks and balances from the Congress against them, it was the majority. If I remember right, it was 8 out of 9. The only one who was even against it was Joe Biden's newest Supreme Court delegate, Jackson Brown, Kataji Jackson Brown. I forgot her name exactly, but, you have all the other Democrats. They're basically just saying, it is what it is. You're going to have a bunch of Democrats who are also corrupt, and bringing them in without stopping the corruption doesn't mean you have more corrupt people in there. And you have to attack corruption at its source. You have to put in the checks and balances to stop them from being paid actors. What's
ironic is that one of the self-defeating parts of the left, nominally speaking in America, is that war of incrementalists and more extremist views. It's while I think the incrementalists are better at seizing power, they are worse at doing anything with it.
Well, by definition, because they do everything slow.
Yeah, and that's an issue that I think, first off, young people need to get more involved. But I also think it's just a problem with the left in general being so conservative in this country that the progressive left is still kind of recent phenomenon. A realistic, nominal left. It started with Bernie. I mean, if you want to be real argumentative, maybe it started with Occupy Wall Street and the anti-war movement. But, the progressive left hasn't been a thing for that long. And I think that's one of the big problems. It needs more time to mature. I hate to say it. Time is just... It's not on our side, though. That's the problem. Is that the left's been so thoroughly crushed in this country.
The money isn't on... A lot of things aren't on this.
Well, leftists can organize with far less and do far more. But at the same time, we don't have the time. That's the one fear I have, is that, climate change especially, being what it is, the 7 hottest days in a recent record. It's corruption is a hard thing to stamp out when the world's burning around you.
And even then, how are you going to defeat a system that relies on the corruption that Citizens United has brought? You're going to try to fight against your own political party, the DNC, and there's other commentators who say that you shouldn't even side with the DNC and you should just do a third party. But at the end of the day, when they're the ones controlling the government, it's hard to even fight them if you don't join them.
Yeah. You know, this kind of plays. Oh god, this is gonna be a long segment, but I guess we'll just kind of. I guess I'll wrap this all together.
Yeah.
We'll talk about. There's a scenario that corruption like this leads to, that this ideology leads to. It's called the Fortress World scenario, and we're seeing that play out. When it's easier to, distract rather than legislate.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let's put up this giant freaking wall of spikes in the Rio Grande.
Texas is putting up the floating wall.
These guys just banned water mandates for their workers.
Mm-hmm.
They're not, their city... Texas, you just had a bunch of people freeze to death and overheat. You have other shit to worry about.
And now they're going to spend money on putting spiked buoys into the water to stop immigrants from coming over and giving you cheap labor.
This is a waste of money. This is the biggest waste of money.
Yeah.
It's like, how did, I'm sorry, but I'm going to go full-on fiscal Republican for a moment. This is a goddamn waste. This doesn't do fucking shit. We need the laborers for cheap money and tax revenue. So, the fact that they're going to hop over spiked buoys, and also, we're going to maintain the spiked buoys?
There's going to be stories of just bodies coming up
on spikes floating out. But who's also going to pay for all that maintenance? The taxpayer? You guys going to cut other budgets for this? Oh, yeah. Fuck the train. Fuck the highway.
The water breaks for all the construction workers.
Fuck it.
Which
water
they
buoys.
said was, they don't have to follow them anymore.
We need to kill a few more Mexicans.
The state came down on cities and counties who said, yes, you are, you have the right to some water breaks.
Yeah, man, why? Why is this a thing Texas feels like it needs to spend money on? This is such a giant waste of money and resources. Ah, yeah, the freaking destroyer buoys, the freaking anti-immigrant buoys. Isn't that just fantastic? God bless America.
God.
Anyway. Just an angry stream. Screw it, we're doing actors now. Do you want to get through the saga of actor strikes, or do you want to go and get an aneurysm from Tim Pool? Because I know we'll have a lot to say on the Tim Pool video.
Aneurysm. Also, I'm going to go pee first before going to aneurysm.
Alright, so we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back then. Let's see. Hello, we are the voice from the void. We are coming
Yes, a voice from the void of the stream.
Hello.
All right, so let's get into it. All right, so we're doing Tim Pool next.
All
Or
right.
we're doing actor strike. You know, it's no longer Pride Month. We can't make those jokes anymore.
No.
I even have that in my mind. But
No, Captain.
Yeah.
Freaking.
this is a Tom Holland situation. All right, this.
Where do you want to? Okay, you know what? I'm
Listen,
calling
I
you out.
thought-
I'm calling you out right now.
I
He's
thought
been
cons-
talking about the Tom Holland thing while we were doing the show prep on the phone
Well, I'm
last
just
night,
saying
talking about stories.
that considering
Before he
how
came over,
Republicans like Ben
before
Shapiro.
we went live.
Ben Shapiro talked shit on
And
how
now,
Harry Styles.
what's
wore
up with
dresses.
you?
They talk about how Hollywood is all
This is an
the gay
obsession.
agenda, and they go on the rah.
Go on.
LGBTQ is taking over Hollywood. I'm just.
This is a
I'm
you
just
problem.
waiting for the videos
This is
of
a you
conservatives saying, "Look, they made Spider-Man gay." You know, Tom Holland. They didn't care that he was a heroin addict in Cherry. They just cared that he's gay. And
If they make
the crowd-
Spider-Man actually gay, they might do that. But if the actor was just in a gay scene, I don't think they're.
Yeah, but they talk so much about how Hollywood does the agenda. They're, making your kids LGBTQ. It would just make sense. And there's already Republicans on Instagram and stuff and on like other platforms saying like, "Oh, look at this, look at that, rah, screeching at the heavens," because
I think
Tom
you're just
Holland
obsessed.
has a gay sex scene.
I think you're obsessed with Tom Holland being naked.
It's just, like
sorry.
I see Republicans
That's fine.
screeching at
We're
the
not in
heavens
Pride Month, man. Pride
about
can
the
be any time.
LGBTQ, the letter mafia agenda. But I just look. I
I
don't
think you
know.
just think Tom Holland's cute.
Or
I
I'll
think
just
Tom
wait
Holland
when
is a
when
little
Jason
on
Campbell puts a
the
clip
twink
of Ben
side.
Shapiro saying, "Look,
so
they
he
made Tom Holland
confuses
take it
you
in
a
the
little
ass for
bit.
the crazy
One
cabal
time
of Hollywood actors,
you jerked off
the
to
Hollywood
him.
directors."
You came to him. You thought, alright, I'm not 100% in, but I'm not 100% out.
I mean,
And that's okay. That's
someone
fine.
was 100% into Tom Holland.
I think you got a gay thing for
I'm just saying,
Tom Holland.
people go crazy. They talk about the Sound of Freedom and how that movie was torn apart, and now
That
they only
movie's-
want to support stuff that's pro LGBTQ.
If I'm being real with you for a moment, the way conservatives are talking about Sounds of Freedom, like it's probably
I don't
a
think
mid
it's
movie.
huh?
It's probably a middling movie.
I mean, from what I've heard, it's an alright movie. And
Yeah, middling. Listen, middling is just average. It's fine. It's another
action movie.
It's another action
Yeah,
movie
like-
where they save the kids from the bad guys. Like I know it's supposed to have the deeper message of child trafficking and all that, but
Yeah.
like when
and
you
people
break
are
it down,
talking about how it got canceled, this and that, like they stopped it from coming out, and I'm just like, yeah, just like it got Batgirl, it got Batwoman, where HBO said, oh, this whole movie's made. There's fucking J.K. Simmons in it, an amazing, phenomenal actor, and you're just like, no, into the gutter. It becomes a federal tax write-off. Like, yeah, you're saying like it's being stopped by the cabal of fucking Fox workers and all these direct. Well, I mean, so did Batwoman.
yeah.
And, I'm not going to sit here and talk about how fucking Warner Brothers is against the LGBTQ agenda. Look, this is an instance of HBO Max being
I'm sure it's
against
an alright movie. Like
against women.
No,
against
but, like,
ethnic women.
I'm sure.
I mean, we'll never know because they truly did put it under lock and key.
No, it's out now. I'll watch it. It's on my list.
Well, Sounds of Freedom, but not Batwoman.
Oh.
Where's the outcry for Batwoman? Or
the last Batwoman.
get
No,
all
sorry.
angry.
I was gonna say the last superhero movie headed by a woman.
Mhm.
It sucked. Wonder Woman 1984 or whatever.
Yeah, I don't like how they did Pedro Pascal in the movie. I mean, it was a different taste from him, but yeah.
He's such a good actor, man. I love
He
him.
is, and it makes you feel bad that
I
the
have-
movies he's in.
I'll
aren't
totally
good.
say it. I got a bit of a gay crush on Pedro Pascal. I'll totally say he's
Yeah.
fucking cute. Boy,
But I'm
I
just
love
gonna
him.
say, you're gonna get angry about Sounds of Freedom. Why aren't you angry about Batwoman? All right, you're talking about like, oh, movies being suppressed. I mean, it is under lock and key.
Because women suck. It's straight up. Remember?
I forgot.
We're going full in on inceldom. We are now one with the incels. I know you didn't think we'd get here to this point, but
No,
we are.
I did not think that. I didn't think he'd be there.
Alright, let's see what else we got.
Whoa.
Michael Knowles.
So we have Daily Wire speaker Michael Knowles.
You sound so tired. You're so done. Oh, God. Okay, give me a moment. I forgot. Twitter's stupid. Alright, give me a moment. I got this. Okay. I'll be over here. Okay. Okay.
A man like this should be ashamed to present himself in this way in public.
What?
On the cultural front, a man like this should be ashamed to present himself.
Wait, I forgot to preface this. So this is Michael Knowles, and he is talking about how science is mostly fake. I mean, that's the caption of the video that we're watching. Let's see what he says.
Science is fake, duh.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, duh. How did your iPhone get here? Magic. Yeah.
A belief, a deep religious belief in Jesus.
Jesus gave you the iPhone. Yeah, it wasn't
I
anyone else.
woke up one day, it was under my pillow.
Yeah, like a tooth fairy.
When I lost my tooth.
Yeah, it was there. Like, wow, thank you, America. Yeah.
In this way in public. We used to have standards and norms that discouraged perverted men like this from presenting themselves in these perverted ways, with the pink hair and the psycho affect, openly talking about chopping up little kids. Men should be terrified to do that sort of thing, and if they have any of these absolutely perverted and sadistic desires, they should keep them to themselves, and they should work on themselves and try to cast those demons out of their bodies. And that's the cultural level of this.
So,
demons.
A few lies. They don't chop off kids' parts.
Mm-hmm.
And
the thing is, it's not like he's only against kids doing it. He's also against adults doing it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's talking about an adult right now.
Yeah.
I mean, ain't that the bitch about this? You kind of pointed out, yeah.
It's like they'll talk about the kids, but at the end of the day, they want it for everybody.
You see, the thing with kids is that, like, I will admit that I haven't done enough research into it, so people can take this as they will. I do agree that kids are very moldable. So when it comes to teaching them how to be a certain way, you can basically inform their personalities.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they do eventually go their own way and become their own people.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll say it's pretty early on when they know.
Yeah.
Or at least when they start, figuring it out, being curious and all that.
So, like, I would understand why people have issues with doing the chemical stuff, but the therapeutic stuff and the psychological stuff, that should be all right.
Go to a psychologist and figure out what they want.
Yeah, like why is that an issue? The affirming part. You don't have to do the surgical stuff, but like, why does it have to be viewed as a holistic thing? Like I can understand you wouldn't be comfortable with them picking like to do chemicals or do the changes in the hormones, but why not just see a therapist?
And the thing is, like, they care about them in this sense, but if it was in another sense, like, let's say if there was a kid with leukemia, Michael Knowles would say, if you can't pay for it, then fuck you.
That's true.
It's like you take the typical Republican conservative, Tea Party view, where you say, like, well, if you don't have the money, then you don't deserve it. If it was a poor kid, they get less money. Like in Texas, when they did the drunk driver kill law, if it's a poor kid, they get less money than if it's a rich kid.
Oh yeah.
That's what we did a segment on that before.
Yeah,
but like, if they'll only care if it has to do in any way with the LGBTQ community, if it has to do anything with them being impoverished or struggling because their family doesn't have money, they don't give a fuck. If the kid is starving, they don't care. They'll leave it up to the charity, which can only get a small community of people, but not the whole American population.
Here, I'll throw you guys a bone. I think the children of rich parents should be fed too. If they want to go get the shitty cafeteria food for whatever dumbass reason.
I mean, who knows? Maybe the parents forgot to give them their fucking food. Like, no child should go hungry.
That's not, that shouldn't be their problem or their fault. If they want that food, they should go get the food.
That's like, it's just...
There you go.
The right way to say it's a red herring. It's just, at the end of the day, they don't really... They don't, huh?
It's a non-issue.
Yeah, it's a non-issue. And they truly, they don't care about children in any other sense than the way that it affects the LGBTQ community.
Just going to point it out, LGBTQ kids are some of the greatest, like, statistically speaking, victims of violence and abuse. And then your guys' retort would be, because of all the groomers and genderqueers. But then you guys forget, they're also people who get kicked out by their Christian conservative parents.
Yeah.
They're people who get They get demonized by their communities, by their church, by their school. I mean, you're talking about a group of people who, in some places of society, still live on the fringes. So, and it's because you put them there. So, I don't know what to tell you. It's like, you stop treating them this way, maybe they wouldn't be so disadvantaged. But,
yeah,
whatever. Screw it. Logic sucks.
Of course.
Michael Knowles would say logic is gay.
He said condoms is gay, so,
All things are gay.
Yeah.
There is the even deeper level that
Go on.
I haven't heard a lot of people acknowledge,
Oh, yeah?
which is
Let's do it.
this is yet another reminder that science is mostly fake.
I like how he has to laugh through. Like, does he know that he's bullshit? It's like, what got you the fucking camera that's filming it right now? Was it not science? Was it not science that got you the ability to talk to the fucking internet? Does DARPA not exist? Was DARPA mostly fake?
You live in the future. We literally live in the future when it comes to all the tech. Like, do you realize how far technology's come in the last 50 years?
I'm pretty sure he doesn't say science is mostly fake when he goes to the fucking hospital to get medication. In any other situation, if he had
Science
cancer,
ain't fake when he drives his car.
Yeah.
When he uses his phone, the internet streams to his
The
fucking
shit that made his suit.
dipshit audience.
The stuff that cut his hair. The stuff that fixed his teeth. and
Oh
he had
yeah,
to go to
the
dentist.
gel.
The gel, yeah, all the process. Like, the
Nope.
Industrial Revolution is mostly fake. The
all
Enlightenment,
fake.
mostly fake.
Probably
the
gay.
mic on his jacket, mostly fake.
Gay. Don't
Oh.
forget gay.
Yeah, it's true.
Probably gay too.
Not that scientism or the politicization of science or whatever other.
You're the people who politicize it. You're the ones who say, let's listen to the facts. Let's listen to biology. But you will ignore therapists, psychologists, sociologists. You'll just ignore them. You'll write them off. They're not scientists. Whatever. Like, you don't give a fuck about science when it is inconvenient to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is. The world doesn't care about our political leanings. Sometimes we have to bend to the world. Sometimes we can bend the world, but sometimes we gotta
They
bend with
believe
it.
in the 1 in 10 dentists that say that your Colgate fucking toothpaste isn't real. They also believe in the 1 in 10 scientists that say that tobacco isn't bad for you.
What
know?
nine
It's the 1 in
dentists
10.
do they get, though? You know, that is something I gotta ask. Like, where the fuck y'all get these dentists from? Where are they from? Are these like the C-listers from like some random place?
And they don't care if those scientists
Are they like
the researchers
Oxford,
are paid
Harvard?
off by oil companies. At the end of the day,
Hogwarts.
Daily Wire is paid by oil companies.
Damn, I used a joke. I shouldn't have used the joke yet. Whatever, I'm still gonna use it later and hope no one sees in the clips. Anyway. Being drunk.
I don't know if that got caught on mic, but
Squishy language, the more centrist kind of people want to grant. But the whole endeavor of the scientific revolution, the premise of
Tell us.
that reality
Tell us.
is fundamentally physical, that is flawed. It's not true.
Oh yeah, why is that?
Modern scientific culture has given us certain nice things, but it's given us a lot of bad things as well, like transgenderism,
God
and transhumanism,
damn it.
and sky.
I am a fan of transhumanism, and it's like, you know why? Because transhumanism is a broad, flexible concept. Transhumanism can include everything like my mom has a pacemaker that keeps her alive. That's a bit of technology that
he wasn't
actively runs
born.
her
He grew
body.
up with fucking polio.
There are people who have hearing aids. There are people who have prosthetics. Transhumanism has uplifted people.
Mr. Beast gave people back their eyesight, alright?
Why
That would not
is
have been
it
possible.
bad? These people never explain why it's bad, because in every time we see it demonstrated, it is a good thing. It helps people. Especially when we use it ethically, which is a lot of the time, because a lot of these surgeries tend to be intrusive.
Yeah.
I'll just have to restart.
Yeah.
Transhumanism. I already ran out. I don't even have that option. Anyway, transhumanism is good. It's given people vision. It's given people prosthetic body parts. It's given people iron lungs. It's given people what do they call it? I just talked about it. The in their heart,
Pacemaker?
Huh? The what?
Pacemaker?
Yeah, pacemakers. People put pacemakers, hearing aids. There's so many different technologies that we have put into people and has made them better, has made them uplifted their quality of life. I mean, wheelchairs even. You're talking about all these different technologies that help people. And these are clear-cut examples of transhumanism at its best. If you want to talk about the nightmarish, like, Warhammer 40k stuff, it's like, yeah, that could happen in your version of the world, in the corporate-ran hellhole where we're all just fuel for profit.
I wonder how this would compare to the Rumble podcaster who said that natives should stop smoking the peace pipe and make guns. It's like they're going in two different directions. It's like you have the conservative that says, rah, go on ahead with science and create the military conquest. And then we have Michael Knowles talking about go back to tradition. Go back. Go
Just
far
schizophrenia,
behind.
man.
Skyrocketing rates of depression and anxiety and suicidality. And
What? But, hold on.
skyrocketing rates of depression and anxiety, like transgenderism and transhumanism, and skyrocketing rates of depression and anxiety and suicidality, and a loss of the sense of meaning in this world, and a neglect of the fundamental spiritual and metaphysical realities of.
See, okay, so that right there is the big problem. Is you fundamentally believe in something that can't be proven. You want to talk about, oh, don't believe in science, just believe in my bullshit. And it's like, at the end of the day, if you want to fix depression, if you want to fix, hell, you're not even really fix people with transgender issues, just help them get treated. You don't listen. It's the same problem as the last guy. You don't give a fuck about what scientists have to say, about what doctors have to say, unless they agree with you. It doesn't matter if the overwhelming majority of scientific literature points in one direction. You'll find the one guy who disagrees with it all and pick him out. Yeah. It's like, at the end of the day, you don't care about these problems. And that's because of that last part. You believe in metaphysical shit. And at the end of the day, that's just fancy talk for bullshit. Fancy talk for, I heard it, someone made it up, or I made it up, or God done did it. That's all it means. God done did it. He's just making it sound smart. But that's all it ever has been. Like, I don't know, man. These arguments don't originate from shit. Because the whole world we live in now is literally built and held up by science. The future of our species is going to be off of science. Other countries are passing us because they have more scientists in them. They are training more doctors than we are. They are training more engineers and mechanics than we are. We are behind because of this ideology of distrusting science. No, you guys don't like science because it agrees with a lot of the therapeutic things. You understand the fact that... Fuck. The problem is that the lens of analysis change. And the sympathetic perspectives that are being placed into science are now being practiced widely. And you don't like that. You want to go back to the world which we bust open the heads of minorities to see why their skulls are different shapes than ours. When we could just acknowledge that, hey, the genetics point to them being people too. But no.
Just fixed headaches. Yeah.
Weird heads, but hey, turns out a person from Sweden has more genetic similarities to someone from another part of the... Like, it turns out, do you know that two people from the same country can have more genetic diversity than two people from, like, totally different sides of the country, like, world? It's crazy. There is more variety in groups than between them. So, whatever, man. We're doing the dance again, but at the end of the day, like, he's just intellectualizing the anti-scientific perspectives that have been with us forever, while also using all the fruits of science to push those ideologies, those self-destructive ideologies. I just want you guys to know, the cynical perspective is simple. A country without science loses, because our bombs don't fall where they need to, our medicine doesn't treat what's needed to be treated, our guns won't shoot straight, and our trains won't run on time. Science is fundamental. If you're anti-science, then you're anti-American. You're you're anti-American domination, which I thought Michael Knowles liked. And the reason we are the dominant force on this globe, and do not get this fucking twisted, is our technological superiority. American military technology, the $1 billion a pop vertibird, or no, I'm not gonna say vertibird, the $1 billion blackbirds that can fly into space. You know how Virgin Galactic made their big spoof about space planes? They had space planes in the 60s. Cost us $1 billion plus to just make one. And that's why we won the Cold War, ladies and gentlemen. But whatever. I mean, if Michael Knowles is that anti-American, that's fine. I'm cool with that. I don't like America either, Michael. Bring America down with your fucking stupid-ass ideology. Why is the Clone Wars trending on Twitter?
I don't know.
Alright, where are we going next? Biden debt relief. You'll have more to say on this than I do.
Yeah, that's... Okay, so one day I woke up and the headlines hit me. Biden has done student debt relief, right? And what the media has said and what Biden has done is that he is going to basically kill student debt for 804,000 borrowers.
Fun.
You know. It's fun for them, but the group of people who are going to get it are people who have been paying on income-based repayment plan for 20 to 25 years. So these are people who have, basically been done with school for 18 plus years.
So this is the generation who really needs this.
Look, people would point out that the student debt forgiveness program, that whole movement is very Gen Z and millennial, and this will help millennials the way he's doing it, but he just left out basically everyone below the age of 35.
So a vast majority of millennials, or no, not a vast majority.
You don't even really start paying back your student debt until after you're done with college. So let's say you finish you're done with college at 22, 24, then 20 years after you're 34. Okay, you just helped out people who are 34 and who have been paying this for the last,
You're helping out people who got absolutely buggered by debt. I mean, good, but could do better.
Wait, no. Sorry, I just did the math wrong there. 24 plus 20 years, that's people who are in their 40s. It's like you're talking about the top end of fucking millennials here. If this is all that he's going to do, it's a really big failure to the younger voters. And this was a policy for the younger voters. This is something that they really cared about because they know it'll bite them in the ass once they get out of college and into the workforce. But then he's only going to do it for people who are fucking 40.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'm just going to... Anyway, okay, so...
Yeah. And I guess that's really the point of this, is that he's only helping people with student debt forgiveness who are basically in their 40s and who have been paying for 20, 25 years. And it does show that it's really fucked up. These people have been paying for 20 to 25 years and they haven't been able to pay it off. It shows how much of a fucking parasite it is to American lives. But what happened to people who are in their 30s who have been paying it, and to the younger people who are scared of it in the future? I mean, this was a young people issue, but now you're only going to help people who are in their 40s.
And there are people out there who would say, well, I had to pay it, why don't they have to?
Yeah.
It's well, because I believe that our country would be doing better if they didn't have to and you didn't have to as well. It sucks that you had to. I actually think some people should be reimbursed. But even without that though, it would be better if a whole generation of people just weren't in debt, because our economy can move. It
sucks that you had to suffer and they didn't. But we can create a better world than the one that you lived in. And if you want a better world for your children, for the the next generation, then this would be the way to do it.
Yeah, it's it's crabs dragging each other into the boiling pot. It's not necessary. We don't have to live that way. All right. Well, let's do a video that's gonna hurt us. Tim Pool. Why does Tim Pool have to hurt us?
So Tim Pool has, that's...
Tim Pool. PragerU video. Woohoo. Who doesn't love PragerU? Oh, confronting Hassan Piker. Why capitalism is horrible. Oh, I want to watch this. That actually looks like a good episode. Damn it. Alright. Later. I'll just add that to the billion-mile long watch list. Yeah, PragerU. We're going to learn about why something is happening with Tim Pool.
Tim Pool has joined PragerU for an episode.
He has joined the hive mind.
Keep working and then work harder.
Die. Work, die, and then work and die again.
If just look at stats, it just shows that every decade it becomes harder to work your way into the next economic section, to the next economic zone, the next peg in the ladder.
This is a totally, I don't know, this might be on topic, this might not be, but that's always the one thing about Stoicism I never really liked. It was always like the embrace your position in life, work quietly and silently.
Yeah.
And it's like without complaint. It's like, man, I don't know, that sounds very convenient if you're the Emperor of Rome. Like,
yeah, it's very convenient if you're just happy with being
where you are.
Yeah. It's really complacency.
Yeah, it is complacency. It lacks any ambition. That's the one issue with Stoicism. It's like it plays at wanting ambition, but it has a line in its own philosophy about not being ambitious.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's whatever.
And so here we have Tim Pool, keep working, and then work harder with PragerU.
Be stoic.
Congrats. You made
Woo!
it. You finished college. You got good grades. Passing grades.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna get a good job. Okay. A job. In 20 years, maybe you'll pay off your student loans. For another 30 years.
Hey, this kind of goes into
it really will be 20 because that's the Biden's cutoff for student debt relief.
Screw it, we're grouping these together.
The thing is, you wouldn't, because without Biden's student debt relief, you would have been 20, 25, 30 years and still paying them off.
Dude, the animation for the old man's eyes look a little funky.
Yeah.
You may finally be able to retire and take that cruise to Aruba you always talk about. And then, you die.
Sorry.
Joke. Is this really what God or the universe or your mother had in mind for you? Who decided this is the path to success?
People like you.
The woke colleges that teach you almost nothing of real value? The corporations that need well-behaved worker bees to reach their quarterly targets? The government that takes half your income and then wastes it? I'm here to tell you that there is another way.
The Christian pagan, the Christian conservative, working hard, having a wife, and never stopping working until you're dead. Also, no social security because that's communism.
Yeah, let's see.
Because I'm living it.
Tell me.
I dropped out of high school at 14. I worked minimum wage jobs when minimum meant something, as in next to nothing. I lived out of.
They're still next to nothing. You look at some states where they try to lower their state's minimum wage, like those Missouri and Mississippi. In a lot of places, minimum is still minimum. Even when you look at a place like LA, which they have now like $14 and $15 minimum wage.
$15.50.
Huh?
$15.50.
Yeah, $15.50. But even then, a place like LA where everything's hyperinflated, where they have some of the highest prices for rent, $15.50 isn't even an apartment. It's minimum is still minimum.
It's
the
kind of
purchasing power of Americans has not gone up.
It's the kind of place where they demand you have more than 3 times the rent, but but it's also the same city where rent takes up 2/3 of your income. So it's like,
look, I'm gonna say 10 years ago, I don't think the purchasing power of Americans was higher. Or no, sorry, it was higher 10 years ago. I don't think it's higher now.
Yeah.
Of my car in Campton Parks, and yet here I am, one of the most watched personalities on the internet.
I wouldn't go that far.
And now we're gonna get into survivorship bias.
Employ a bunch of people, and I make more than the minimum wage.
Awesome.
How did I get here without a college degree? As someone once said, I never let my schooling interfere with my education. My parents owned a coffee house in Chicago. I did a little bit of everything, and while I was cleaning, cooking, or cashiering, I was also soaking up the banter, learning about culture, politics, and why Jason hated the Republican Party. That was my education.
Hey, he has a beard.
If you really want to get into it, that's already one thing that put him ahead of a lot of people. The fact that your family could just give you a job. Like, the fact your family can be your reference, your family could be your introduction to the workforce. They didn't just start at some place like fucking Burger King or Jack in the Box. That is already a good step in the right direction. And the fact that you even had parents, that's also another step. But, let's go on.
My small loan of a free job that I didn't have to qualify for. Still a big step, man. Like, it's still a huge step.
I mean, you still did the work, but, it was cut out for you.
You got a hand up, though. My first job was working for my school. And my first real job after that was working at Jack in the Box. So.
Yeah, school cafeteria and then Subway.
Yeah.
I didn't have some grand plan for my life. Actually, I didn't have any plan. I just worked hard. Whether
That's great.
I was handing out extra crispy fries at the drive-thru window or freezing my ass off hauling luggage at O'Hare, I was always excited about what I was doing because I knew my next job, the one after that, would be better. In my early 20s, I began a career in activism. I fundraised on behalf of Greenpeace and other environmental nonprofits, and I was damn good at it. In fact, I was always one of their top fundraisers. But I walked away when I discovered that the green these organizations claimed to care about was not the environment.
Uh-oh.
Around that time, rumors began circulating on the internet about something called Occupy Wall Street. The plan was for thousands of...
Oh, hey, what's this live about this time? He also wears the beanie. Hello, Corn Slob. Welcome back. Shit.
Yeah, we're talking about how Tim Pool has now made a PragerU video, and he's talking about how if you keep working, work hard, you'll be able to make it. Although we'd say that it's survivorship bias.
He's giving he's kind of giving conflicting advice here because it's like on one hand, like the schools want you to work hard till you die, but then on the other hand, he's literally saying work hard till you die. So maybe I'm just not smart enough for the Galaxy.
It's already on both sides.
Galaxy Brain Tim Pool is very hard to follow. He speaks a language above us.
Class and the poor were being crushed.
Ooh.
It seemed interesting, so I thought it was worth checking out.
Tell me about it.
A round trip bus ticket to New York, planning to stay there for a week. I stayed 6 years. Multiple times a day, I would live stream and post photos of what was happening. When the epicenter of the protest at Zuccotti Park was raided by the police, I began what became a 22-hour straight live stream. Time magazine picked up my story. My career in media had officially begun. I was receiving...
Okay, but now take all the other people who were there doing work on the ground. You were one of the few who got picked up by a headline media source like Time. Do you not think there was others also doing similar things? It's like even the fact that you were picked up by Time shows that you had a jump ahead that other people's didn't get. You could have been one of the many there, showcasing it. But you just weren't the one that got picked.
Very
some
lucky.
people just aren't lucky.
He was lucky.
He was lucky, Cornslop. Yeah.
Having phone calls, emails, book offers from every media organization you can probably think of. But I had already learned my lesson. I did not trust that they knew what they were doing, especially with new technology. So I went independent. I worked my ass off. I reported on anything I thought was interesting. Always posting. Now that I had built a foundation, I had leverage. I went to Vice. I didn't ask them for a job. I told them the job they would make for me. They agreed. But as corporate media began to change and embrace the cult-like ideology of wokeness, I realized I couldn't stay there. If I wanted to tell the truth, I had to do it myself. Fast forward 6 years and I now have my own media empire. The Timcast network has over 4 million subscribers, over 1 billion views.
Yeah,
2
damn.
songs on Apple's top 10 list.
Apple's top 10 list.
Who
What about
listens
Billboard 100?
to iTunes?
Like, what about like a real music place?
Wokeness? Yeah. iTunes, I'm sure it matters to some, but the place that people mainly listen to music now is Spotify, so.
Well, YouTube Music as well, but...
Yeah, or YouTube Music.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm still working my ass off. In short, I trusted myself more than I trusted my teachers, or my managers, or the people running the companies I worked for. Whatever value they assigned me, represented by a report card or a title or a paycheck, wouldn't have an impact on my success. How about you? Do you believe in yourself enough to chart your own course so that you can one day do what you really want to do? For me, it's working for myself. For you, it could be getting to the C-suite of a Fortune 500 corporation, or staying at home and raising a family, or becoming a cattle rancher. There are a million good options. I'm not going to make any judgments about what you want to do. My life-changing advice? Well, sorry, I don't have any. Except maybe this. Work, keep working, and then work harder. I figured it out. Your turn.
So, yeah, no, this message is a little confused.
It's like you say that people shouldn't basically work until they die, but then you say work, keep working, and then work harder.
Work for yourself
until the world, sees who you really are.
I don't completely disagree with it, because there's a quote I always really liked. It was, it's not this was harmless but boring, because it is a celebrity.
Kornslava, it is.
No, it's harmless. Listen, there's a quote I've heard I always really liked. It was, there's no job that you'll love so much you'll never work a day in your life. Even doing this, like editing, is a bit of a slog sometimes.
Yeah, it's slow.
But at the same time, that's why I like the saying, get a job that you don't see yourself not working. Something like that, or like something that you don't want to stop
working. I think it is true. If you want to go up the economic ladder, you do have to work hard.
Yeah.
But it's sort of, there's the point to be made that working hard isn't the only thing that gets you there, and it may not be the only thing that you need to get there.
Yeah, no, it does require, I do agree, like work for yourself when you can, build your own thing.
Like, you can work hard every day at a job, but they might not give you a management position or leadership position. It could be like Amazon, where they purposely fire you because they don't want you to grow at the company. The
only thing I will say is that the college part, the anti-college thing, college can provide a lot of opportunities. My only advice, I will say, I actually do have some advice for this, because I just graduated recently, having taken both community, fuck it, we can do the Jubilee video after this, the community college and the university experience. Go to community college. A lot of people are doing it. It saves you money, and unlike uni, well, actually no, you could do some at uni, but at community you can try out trades. I tried out forklift driving. I was certified for a little while.
I'll say this though, you'll get some advantages if you start out at uni. You'll be ahead.
Not in trades. Well, it doesn't let you try stuff out.
It depends on what you want. If you want to join extracurriculars, you'll certainly be ahead if you join the uni at first. There's stories at UCLA where people who are transfers, since they're transfers, they're not looked at as valuable as people who are there day one as a freshman.
That's true.
Because they won't be able to put in as much time as a freshman. They're not seen as dedicated as a freshman who got there from high school. They won't have as much time to really be part and provide as much.
Yeah, but I would also argue, though, that it's unrealistic for a high school student fresh out to know what they want to do. And then I think that time investment and that money investment is better spent at community, where the investment's both smaller and more flexible. Because you're not locked in. You can try out lots of stuff. Like for me, forklift driving certification was a totally just side thing. I didn't have to do it. It was just like an extracurricular you can do. I did it, whatever. And that's my point. Like, it's more flexible. It's a good place to start.
Well, if you're somebody who was dedicated to like one thing for your entirety in college, you're probably better off going to uni that's good for that.
Yeah, but again, like how many of these kids know what they want?
I mean, some of them might know the degree or like what area. Like if you know you want to be in politics, then go to a political uni. If you know you want to be in this, like if you really feel it, it's really in your soul, then go for it, because you're going to be ahead of the pack. But
I don't fully agree.
I mean, some people are wayward, and they just.
Well, that's the thing I don't agree with, though, is because at the same time, it's like, what part of politics would they like? Because they might be really into politics, or they might only be into the activism part. And the activism part can easily be done at community college.
Sure, but you'll get a higher network at a bigger school, at a uni.
You get some pretty strong connections at community.
I'm sure, but typically unis have a bigger outlet. I mean, just on the sheer fact they have higher number of people. Yeah, they're going to have a bigger alumni
Community
network.
Colleges work with local unions. They work with local businesses.
It's true, but
a lot of the people who go to communities are also local, and they're
provide
part of that
more
community.
to the local government.
But it's also more relevant because you're working with local communities as an advocate, which is a more
I would
realistic
say that
position.
if you take a local university, they're probably going to have a lot more sway money-wise with the local government.
Oh, 100%. But I'm talking about in terms of relevant real-world experience, the type of work that you'll be doing, you're probably better off with that advocacy work because that's the kind of work you will realistically get. I mean, like, yeah, you might maybe get an internship, but like...
I would say the uni's still probably a lot of advocacy work.
Yeah, I would imagine. No, they have a lot of advocacy on the unis as well. I'm just saying in terms of that mix of community and school-bound advocacy. Like, they have a lot of existing networks that go in between, and it works. And again, just knowing what you want, I don't think it's smart to tell someone, hey, go spend 10 grand a year on tuition because you know vaguely what you want to do. I don't think that's good.
I mean, I'm saying if you know what you want, you feel it in your heart, then I would say go for it.
That you just said if they know vaguely, like, oh, if
I
you're
didn't
into
say
politics.
vague. If you know in your heart if you want to be in politics, then you should go to political school.
At the same time, though, it's like a lot of people know like the basic of what they want. Like for example, I knew I wanted to write, but I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do as a writer, which would end up being because there's creative writing, there's entertainment writing, but I ended up doing
this
journalism.
topic would probably be better left to the Ivy League versus community college segment.
This is related
Jubilee.
to your topic. This one is funny to me because this is what hard work looks like. Ironically, a little bit. I don't know.
I mean, you could say that you're lucky because you knew what you wanted from a young age, and that's fair.
Yeah.
But to those people, they will certainly be at a great advantage.
I still think for the vast majority of people, it's a better bet to go to a community college where they can.
It may also
things
depend
out.
on what type of uni you go to, because some unis are smaller. But then also, like, if you really want good extracurriculars, some community colleges, some city colleges, they don't have extracurriculars that are good for socializing. Like the student body doesn't have that foundation.
That's not entirely true. There's lots of clubs and there's lots of things like that can easily be
but
leadership
from my experience,
examples.
the clubs didn't really amount to much.
It depends on the ones you go to, and also that's kind of on you on a level, right? Like for
Well,
the
yeah,
people
the
who
point
can
is you can
revitalize
make-
a club,
You could,
shows
but
real
then
leadership.
again, if you go to a uni, chances are that club is already vitalized.
Well, that's
it's
my
probably
point.
already, just for the sheer fact you have a higher number of people there.
I mean, there's a good point to be made for both. I think you can demonstrate leadership if you can revitalize a club.
Sure, but that's still an insurmountable task. Like, that's still a really huge task they have to go through versus just joining one that's already strong.
No, I understand that, but again, it's like what I mean when I say like the vast majority of people. It's like the vast majority of people don't know what they want to do.
Yeah,
and it's better for
if
them
you're
to
someone
explore.
who doesn't know what you want to do, then
Well, that's
then
the
don't
vast
do it.
majority of people. I think it's better to do community college.
Well, I'm talking about a subgroup.
Well, like a super small subgroup, but yeah, I get
That
it.
subgroup exists, and they take advantage
yeah, that's
of it.
fine, but I think generally speaking, even for those people who know vague, like you have to know specifically what degree you want. I think for that advice to be applicable.
I mean, I think some people know.
Some people,
Some
sure.
people already know, like, if you want to go into engineering.
But the vast
Or
majority
if you
of
want to
people
go into
who
coding,
go through
if you want
college,
to go into politics, or if you want to go into... I mean, if you don't know, if you're not, like, just...
a lot of people who
you know,
go through
hard-headedly
college,
dedicated to it, then you probably shouldn't.
yeah, a lot of people who go through college change their degrees at one point. So they change their focus, like halfway through. That happens all the time.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not the smartest idea to go straight to uni, even if you think you know what you're doing. It's like, it's probably better that you take the community, see if you like the subject matter, and then go deeper from there. It's like, I grant you they might be overlooked in some places, but then just excel in others to compensate. Take on leadership roles in your clubs. I mean, if you're right, they have bigger ones at the unis.
That's
then
true, but then there'll
participate.
be people with leadership roles at the uni. I don't see
Well,
how...
don't disqualify yourself. You got to actually show off and be a part of your, community. That was something that I failed to fully do.
Yeah, but it seems like people who did that and then transferred, they were still disqualified for being a transfer.
In what?
And you can talk about that's the failure on the culture of the uni, but at the end of the day, that is the culture of the uni.
You think? Wait, so even the people who done the extracurriculars?
Yeah, it's just for the fact that you're a transfer. You don't have. They don't see you as someone with as much experience as someone who's been at that uni from freshman to junior.
Wait, so what do they disqualify them for again?
Because they're not.
No. Like for what though? Like what are they being disqualified from?
So there was one like you look at UCLA's. I think it was their news club where they're posting for their newspaper, they would rather choose people who were there basically from freshman to junior than people who transferred. And it was a criticism that they would always get is because they saw that transfers weren't as valuable as people who were either a sophomore or junior at the school.
That's fair. I mean, in the Cal State system, I was a transfer and I was a head editor for my newspaper. So it's like, yeah.
And you can argue at somewhere, like in a CSU at a small unit, you have a lot more breakthrough. If you want to argue just your chance at being able to be at the top of the food chain.
It's not completely insurmountable. I mean, if you want to do the survivorship bias, but my only point is that you should find... I just don't think that initial investment is worth it. That's why I'm saying, like, for a one-size-fits-all solution, I think community college is better. That's really what this argument boils down to.
I mean, I'm not against that.
Yeah. Well, you're saying if you really know, and I'm saying even for those people who think they really know, it's like, not necessarily. You should still try it out. You might not know.
So
like,
are you saying that everyone shouldn't?
I'm saying community college is a good step for everyone.
Okay.
It's probably the best step for most people. Yeah. Like 70, 80%.
I hope they're able to make their way to uni without problems.
I mean, we both did.
Yeah, from what I've seen, they've had problems.
True, but even when I was I picked a local uni, but even when I was
that's
practicing
too, it's like, what level of uni are you going to?
I got into some pretty high-end universities as a community college student.
Harvard, Yale. So Corn Slob says Harvard, Yale, Stanford, overrated colleges, prestige students who waste it. That is true, but a lot of politicians do come from Ivy League. And there's a reason why people in high-end positions come from Ivy. That's why you look at like law schools, for instance. It's only like the top, what's it called, like T11. They are picked from those schools because at the end of the day, the job market is biased toward those schools. Yeah. Yeah, you just look at it like you got somebody coming from like a random law school in like Texas. Even something like was like UT Austin. Like they're not going to have as good of a chance as somebody who's coming from Stanford or from Berkeley.
That is true.
They're not gonna and you can just see it from the job analytics of where they get jobs. Do they get it at a big law firm? Do you get it from a mid law firm or local or government? They're not gonna have as big, as good of acceptance rate into those jobs.
Perhaps not, but the reason they should still do community is because a lot of the time the community colleges have deals where the professionals that are trained at that community college will either go into the workforce or into the local universities. So in terms of their ability and their flexibility is much better. I'm
not going to say that you can't have like a fulfilling good career.
Not even fulfilling. Like a lot of cities, like the one that we live in, I'm not going to say which one, but the one that we live in has a direct deal with the community college to hire people from that community college for trades, for electrician stuff, for
that's good
stuff. And so that's not entirely true. It's like, well, yeah, maybe they have it at the highest end jobs, but if they want to get work and get jobs, it's not impossible for them to go do it through the community college system.
If your city has that deal and if your city's college has that program, and if they're lucky enough to have the funding,
they're more than likely going to.
Because likeliness is you're in a city that gets brain drained by local unis in other cities, because a lot of cities aren't big and they don't have the support of a massive college.
If you have... True, but then you also have a lot of smaller universities around the big one.
And that's the point for like law schools. You may not be at a big law school, but you're at a law school in the city. Yeah. And chances are that city's law firms will take you. Because you're at that. Like, they'll just market to your law firm because you're right there.
Also, I'm going to push back a little bit on you, Corn Slob. It's not a total waste to do social science careers because we legitimately need these people to do a lot of the marketing and government analysis. But it's just that, education itself shouldn't just be relegated to if it can make money. I think, like the founding fathers of our country were educated men, and that's no mistake. People with the power to create democracy were educated. So the people with the power to maintain it must be educated. So, social science education I don't think is totally a bad thing. It's just a good thing for democracy and for freedom in general. Anyway, Tim Pool, we went off the rails. This wasn't that offensive of a video. It kind of upsets me.
It's also pretty short
for a
review video.
We got a lot of time out of it somehow, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, Candace Owens. Or no, sorry, TJ Kirk.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
well,
TJ
I'm gonna
Kirk.
go pee first.
God damn.
Because I gotta go pee.
Well, another break, you guys. Actually, no, I guess I'll stay here with Corn Slap. Please hurry. He has to pee a lot. Every time. Let's just talk shit about him while he's gone. Do you know that he farts into bottles and huffs it in? Make it less expensive, then I'll believe you. You got me there, Corn Slop. You got me there. And I agree, it should just be free. But, you know, whatever. At the very least, I mean, if you want to do, like, half measures like our country likes to really fucking do, we should honestly make associate degrees free, at the very least, because associate degrees don't even have much value anymore. Right, like, that's the joke. Like, to even have in each shot, you need to get a bachelor's. And even then, like, I think it was like half or 1/3 of all bachelor degree holders don't have, or underpaid, some shit like that. Yeah, I mean, that's why I endorsed community college, by the way. Because community college has more investments in trades, and those local relationships can get you practical experience. And while Saul believes more in the institutions, and maybe in the academic areas, that is 100% true what he's saying, in the trades, it's not really that big a deal, the connections you have. It's more or less based on the skill you can demonstrate. So yeah, like, that's why I endorse community colleges, because, like, you don't need those same connections in the trades. If you can demonstrate your skill and you can work very well, you know, those certifications, all that really matters. Your demonstration of skills, all that really matters, versus connections you made.
Trades sound more appealing to college. Like, yes and no. Like, trades, you'll probably get a better paying job right out of college, but...
Way better.
Yeah, but then again, it's like you do give your knees and your back to the work.
I would argue that it also doesn't require the same level of connections, because you're talking about all this nepotism and all this, like, you need to know.
Also, there's better
you need to go to the
for
right
trades.
college, and
There's
you
like
need to know the right people. But in, like, the trades, like, you don't really need that. You just certification and demonstration of skill.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, it's also just more mobile socially.
Also, if you're in a big city, chances are they have, like, a trades union.
Still, though, it's still better, though, overall.
Yeah.
It's not like I need to go here. Like, I need to go to this trade school.
No, yeah, it's a lot more streamlined.
Well, no, it's more merit-based. I like that. It's actually based on merit and not just nepotism, which is something the Supreme Court didn't want to cover. Oh, so. Because all their freaking sons and daughters are all middling students who need to get a fucking leg up. But trades get to the point of experience college does not, unless you're trying to be a doctor. Yeah, that's another good point, is that a lot of trades, I think, I'm going to try to interpret you, Cornslav, is a little broken your English there. A lot of trades, like, when you learn, you actually get on-job experience.
Yeah.
Which, that is true. I mean, journalism's actually kind of an exception to that.
If you're in, like, stats, though, then that's pretty pertinent if you want to be, like, a statistician.
Well, yeah.
You gotta learn, like... But then again...
I wouldn't go to community for construction or labor-inclusive jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess that is a point that, like, if you're going into construction, you sort of don't need to go to, but, like,
you don't.
It also depends. Do you want to do, like, metal fab? And, like, do you want to be able to climb up the company ladder? Because sometimes they'll gatekeep you at having a degree or having the certificates.
Yeah, that is true.
And in some cases, you might be able to work with the union or with the company and be like, okay, just show whether you can learn on the job. But sometimes your company certificate doesn't follow you to other companies.
Yeah.
Like, you can be certified for Home Depot, but if you go to Lowe's, they won't take you because Lowe's doesn't give a fuck what Home Depot says. You know, like, so you'll be sort of caged in, like, locked into the Home Depot ladder, to give an example.
Now, we're going to talk about TJ, the amazing atheist.
Oh, boy.
He is one of the many role models, I guess you could say. We listened to a lot of him growing up. I probably listened to a bit more of him than Saul here. But we both like him a lot. So he's going to talk about voting in 2024. Let's hear what he has to say.
I do like his aesthetic. Amazing atheist aesthetic is nice.
To elections, especially when it presidential election,
Yeah, so-
I've kind of been all over the place. I have been, maybe you could use the term erratic. You certainly shouldn't use the term erotic.
Thank you.
I haven't been doing anything untoward in the voting booth or anything like that. Well, maybe I have, because in 2004 I voted for John Kerry. Because I kind of hoped it would stop the Bush war machine, What a more innocent time. Back when all it was is like Bush is evil, and anything other than Bush must be good. Despite the fact that I hated John Kerry. Well, it's kind of unfair to say I hated John Kerry, because that would be having an emotion about John Kerry. That's kind of impossible.
Oh, we got more.
In 2000,
And jobs want immediate experience, so going to college is interfering with job experience.
Yeah, but okay. So one way that social science people get experience is through.
We'll just restart this.
Yeah, we'll just. I mean, we can start it from there, to be honest,
Oh, yeah.
because he hasn't really gotten into it. But with Cornslaw, so let's say you're in like political science and you want like in job experience, you'll just sign up for an internship for a congressman, a state congressman, et cetera, city work. And sometimes they'll require that you're actually either trying to get a degree or have a degree. So you almost need a degree in order to even get the internship to get your job experience.
Yeah.
Which it's like a catch-22. It's like, oh, the degree doesn't give me the knowledge needed to do the job, but in order to get the job, you need the degree because that's a requirement. Like, it's... Say what you will, but right now the job market's built like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just good to have the paper.
Yeah. And now getting back to TJ voting in 2024. Amazing atheist.
Back to it.
Mm-hmm.
2008, I supported Obama, but I didn't vote for him. I've always said it was kind of because there was a problem with my registration, but I guess a long enough time has passed, I can tell you the truth. I was kind of just too lazy to do it. I didn't want to admit that because a lot of
Not
times
even mail-in?
don't vote or just said, like, we're just too lazy.
You're too... Okay.
Look,
to do mail-in... They mail it to your house.
Okay, he might not be in a state that does mail-in. If I want to give...
I thought mail-in was like a right of like all the states. And this was also back before the voter fraud shit. So like...
I don't know specific states.
I mean, he is from Missouri. But
Yeah,
I
back
also
then
know
he
he
was
lived in
the
California at one point.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I don't know. I'll say this. If you're in a state that isn't a swing state, I can certainly understand the apathy.
Well...
It's like, well,
let's see where he's going with it.
anyways.
Let's see where he's going with it. Let's see where he's going with it.
Well, I was. But it was also, in fairness to me, it was pretty obvious he was going to win nationally, and it was also very obvious he was not going to win my very, very, very deeply red state at the time.
Ah, Missouri.
Mm.
By 2012, I didn't really give a shit about Obama anymore. You guys probably don't. I mean, I had Obama derangement syndrome. You guys probably don't really understand what it was like at that time, unless you were of voting age in 2008. Then you probably know that Obama was so exciting, so dynamic, so compelling, so interesting. Seemed like he was going to be such a breath of fresh air, and he turned out to be such a tepid, centrist, nothing, sort of lame duck president.
Never closed Gitmo. He never closed Gitmo. So
He also failed to get universal health care.
Mm-hmm.
He failed to get free community college for everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, Pell Grant pays for a lot of community college.
Supermajority and did barely anything with it.
Yep.
Heritage Foundation, Obamacare system.
Didn't put in any Supreme Court justices, which led to Trump basically filling the court.
No, I mean, he was...
There were issues, for sure.
Yeah.
But you also got to keep in mind, though, something that we are forgetting, that he's actually charismatic in a way that, like, Bernie was.
Yeah,
Probably
no,
even
he
more
was
so.
a really good suave talker.
Yeah.
He had the charisma.
And to be fair, I hate to do it, but let's say the obvious, he was the first black president.
Yeah, I mean, representation does matter.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, yeah, because he's black, yeah.
But it's not like he did a lot to stop police violence.
No, he didn't.
No, it's like he was there for the face, but not for the action.
This is Obama's proof that just because you had a black president doesn't mean that anything on race relations changed. Will change.
Also from an Ivy League school. His life experiences will not be probably the typical person. It's not like an everyday man just because his color is dark.
No student loan forgiveness.
Yeah, he didn't. Well, I mean, Obama certainly didn't do student loan forgiveness.
Bombing, also droning the shit out of Afghanistan.
Yeah.
It's fine. Whatever. But yeah, I mean, we don't like Obama. I mean, but like just to make clear why he was relevant though, like
Yeah.
the excitement in the air for someone like that in general probably was a lot.
His tenure, other than a gift to the insurance industry.
No, but he plays basketball.
Yeah.
You're getting us in trouble there, corn slob.
There are videos of him playing, like, that was the whole PR stunt.
Oh yeah, wait, who? Bernie or
Bernie and Obama, I think.
Yeah, I remember seeing Bernie's old ass
Mhm.
fucking lob a basketball.
Yeah.
Sorry, I love Bernie, but he just watching his old ass shamble around a basketball court. It's like, you know, he's all right. I mean, he's in good shape for a man that old, at least.
In terms of healthcare,
Tell
I
us.
didn't really care if he won or if Mitt Romney won. I guess I marginally preferred Obama, but not enough to actually bring my ass into the voting. So then by 2016, I still didn't vote because I found the entire prospect of voting completely meaningless by that point. I totally had. Have you ever watched the George Carlin stand-up routine about the meaninglessness of voting? I was 100% on board with that at the time. Also, I totally despise Hillary Clinton. So even with all that's happened, and I know.
Oh, 2016.
Yeah.
Okay, so the political vitality of that election, man, was just in the air.
Mm.
It really was, because that, like, Donald Trump really got elected by the internet, and like I was a terminally
He
online.
was also had a
libertarian
lot
boy.
stronger populist rhetoric than Clinton.
I was a terminally online libertarian boy, and it was the funniest thing. Me and one of my Mexican friends, on the day Trump got elected, went Trump, 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 and our teacher kicked us out
Yeah.
because we were trolling.
Also, like, it was nice to see someone who was a shit kicker.
It
when
was
politics is so
just
corporate and bullshit.
upsetting Queen fucking Hillary.
You can't hear the dude.
Oh, you can't hear the dude? Oh, shit. Hold on. Let me check our sound levels. I think I know why.
Me for,
Ah, that might be why.
Too
but
low.
I'm still not convinced she would have been a better choice than Trump.
Perhaps.
We'll never be able to look into that crystal ball and see into the alternate universe where she won, so it's kind of a moot point, but I do think that she was so saber-rattly, and some of the military actions that she was talking about were so provocative that I feel like she might have gotten America entrenched in yet another war. And
Yeah, I mean, there was
The
the no-fly
no-fly
zones in Syria.
Yeah.
That was a really big point. They had a debate, and they were talking about that, which... That's fair. I mean, Trump didn't start a war. He might have done some really cavalier shit.
No, he just bombed Iran.
And general, and, you know, did a bunch of other... And he increased the drone strikes, but, I mean...
He ended the war in Afghanistan, admittedly on Biden's timetable, but he ended the war nonetheless. Oh, no, sorry. Biden did it on Trump's timetable. Sorry, I got that one backwards. Yeah, my bad. Now I can. Thank
Yeah,
you.
because the voice was too low.
Yeah, sorry, Corn Slob. Internet. Internet is dumb.
Yeah.
you know, as much as I hate Trump and as much as I think that his little pathetic failed insurrection on January 6th was an embarrassment to this country, I would take that over a bunch more American and foreign lives being lost in a meaningless conflict over resources
fair.
any day. So that's where I stand on that. In 2020, I voted for Biden because same reason I voted for Kerry in 2004. Just wanted to get the bad guy out of office. Trump's the bad guy, get him out. He was such an embarrassment, such a disgrace. I wanted him gone at any cost, and the cost was vote for dementia.
I'm going to speed it up a little.
Grandpa Joe. So for only the second time in my life, I voted for president. Once again, it was the lesser of two evils. I voted for Biden. Just trying to put a damper on Trump and the threat to civil liberties that he represented. So in the last 2 decades, I've only voted in 2 presidential elections.
He's goofy as fuck.
Yeah, I mean, he's eccentric.
For sure.
Yeah, he's really eccentric.
The wizard beard. Aren't you jealous of the wizard beard, Corn Slob?
Then, like, you know, that's his aesthetic, and he's going for it, and he rocks it, so...
I like it. I think the wizard aesthetic is cool. I want to be a wizard. Not a clan wizard, goddammit. I'm just a normal wizard in a cave. Like he probably is right here.
Once for John Kerry, once for Joe Biden. I've abstained 3 times, once out of complete apathy, 2 times out of disgust. This time around, I've decided I'm probably going to vote for a third party. Now, I don't know who yet, but it's the only thing I haven't done yet, so it has a novelty factor to it. Obviously, I've never voted for a Republican either. I figure I can do that when I'm in my 70s and my mind is basically tapioca pudding. I find it so strange that so much online political discourse is centered around voting for the president when, as far as I'm concerned, it's probably one of the most meaningless things a person can do politically. Like, most states in this country are solidly blue, solidly red, so even if you buy into the idea that these parties are different enough to make it worth your while to vote for them, you still have to reckon with the nasty fact that your vote probably isn't really going to count for much unless you happen to live in a swing state. And in 2024, there's really only expected to be 6 swing states. Granted, things could change, but as of now, Nevada, Arizona, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. I think this argument, and I should specify...
Is he about to say he made the wrong vote and should have gone for Trump? Based.
Nah,
well.
I think he's just saying that now he doesn't feel the point. Which, I mean, let's see his argument.
Trump got his issues. Biden got his issues. What you gonna do? I mean, we preferred Biden, but if I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't blame somebody for not being excited.
I would have liked Hillary putting in a judge that wouldn't have ended Roe v. Wade or ended affirmative action or ended regulations for the EPA for
I'll push back a little on that.
For land.
What for average people, though? Like, every day we could immediately feel if,
That's true, but I mean, to a lot of people, they will feel the end of Roe v. Wade.
They will.
The end of affirmative action. The EP, just shit like the EPA, the wetlands, saying that you can build next to wetlands.
Those are things that will take time to hurt us, though.
I mean, I would say affirmative action, that'll happen, within the next year.
Exactly.
Roe v. Wade, people are already feeling that in many states. And a lot of red states. They're just...
Well, I think abortion was one of the hills the Republicans sort of died on in the last election.
That's true, and you can say that they probably won't win a full seat in Congress, but then again, American memory is pretty fickle.
It is.
They might not be as outraged in the next 2 elections.
They might not be. We got to see if that anger can be maintained. Corn Slob, you voted for Trump. Why, Corn Slob? Why?
Oh, no.
Tell us why, Corn Slob. We'll talk to you today. Just to you. You're the only one. You're all we want to talk to.
I think this is an argument that happens mostly on the left or like among left-leaning liberals and stuff. Republicans don't really have this debate as much, as far as I know. A lot of people on the left have big problems with the vote blue no matter who thing, but very few people on the right have problems with vote red till I'm dead. Then again, to be fair, I do suppose the Libertarian Party is a fairly right-wing party in many senses, and it is the third largest party in America. I mean, a huge drop-off after the first 2, but hey. So I guess that I can't say that, there's no one on the right that's dissatisfied with the Republicans, but, I just don't see the debate happening as much on their side. I think that most people who just kind of don't see any point in the elections, they end up just not voting at all. That's what I've kind of done when I found it impossible to care. And in 2024, I'm still finding it very difficult to care. And I know that for a lot of people, that probably doesn't make sense. We got this radical right-wing Supreme Court making decisions that anyone left of Goebbels would probably find regressive. We have a GOP that seems like it's thirsty for LGBT blood. Like, the wolves are at the door, and for many lefties, not voting or voting third party seems like you're opening the door to just let the wolves in, and you're just saying, fuck it, eat me,
My argument.
I think that there's another way.
We talked a little bit about this, and and Saul has lampooned me for having that perspective.
Yeah, I would say it's more of a failure on the Democratic Party not being a party you want to vote for than the voter not being willing to vote for the Democratic Party.
I do agree. I do agree that the Democrats failed, but I'd agree. But I also have to go into saying that, not actively opposing something is enabling. Like, non-participation is enabling.
Yeah, but I wouldn't go to the voters and be like, well, you didn't vote for X, so that means you support Y. Like, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
that's not that
rhetoric is only the type of rhetoric you'd use in the most. Listen, straight up, that rhetoric, like my rhetoric, is the rhetoric you use in the most dire circumstances, and I don't think we're at that point. So my language isn't necessary, but I do think the contents of that perspective are correct. Because frankly, the Democrats win based on turnout. They have higher turnout. They have higher support.
Wait, who?
The Democrats routinely get higher turnouts.
Yeah.
They win based on the turnouts. They win because they appeal to broader sets of people. So when they abandon that concept, they lose.
But then again, sometimes public appeal isn't enough because electoralism, either electoral college, you don't need a majority to win an election.
The non-democratic
gerrymandering
institutions.
in the states, even though a state might be majority blue, the Republicans win because they gerrymander the county. So then all the Democrats are in 1 or 2 counties, and then the Republicans take up 5 other delegates. They take over just they have more representation because they fucked up the census map. They fucked up the districts.
Wouldn't that be a point to mind perspective, though? It's like on a level, not acting, not voting for the.
But then again, it's like
tables.
even if you had like a 60% vote, you can end up just not having. Yeah, he is goofy out hillbilly, but eccentric.
Talking about Mike,
Mr. Bombastic, but
Mr. Bombastic, Mr. Fantastic.
Although then there's also a point that in some counties, in some places, voting really is futile. Unless if you're able to get an overwhelming majority of you guys voting, unless you're able to do this huge shift, it sort of is futile.
I was thinking of
unless
migration.
You can get the lawyer to come in and try to fight against your and there's people who do
the migration of Californians to Texas, and they're complaining in Texas that they're turning the state blue.
Yeah, I mean that'll be funny to see if Texas does turn blue, or some places do turn more blue because of it.
And also, Mr. Bombastic, you gotta be honest with us. That beard is to die for. Like, that is the beard of freedom. When you've realized true freedom and you do not care about other judgment of the judgment of other men. Just vote for Trump. Trump 2024. Yeah, well, Trump is orange, and that's bad. Okay, orange man bad. There you go.
More of an apple man.
More an apple. There you go. Joe Biden is an apple now. Let that image that kind of actually makes sense because the whole teacher vibe.
Yeah.
Oh God, all the negatives that come with that as well. Anyway,
look at it. I think that if you look at the status quo and you ask yourself, how did we get here, and how do we get out of here? You might I'm probably getting ahead of myself a little bit, so let's kind of define what the status quo is that we're talking about in terms of these presidential elections and the politics that surrounds them. So, 2 parties, the Republicans, Democrats, obviously.
We're being opposed by our audience. Oh no. Do we embrace Stalinism? No, not yet. We'll only ban if spam.
The unlock now. They are the ones in the fight. Others are allowed on the ballot.
We're okay with free speech here. Just no, nothing that would get us banned, actually. I will Stalinize anybody who does any weird shit like that. Yeah, I told you the beard is fucking cool. Okay? The beard is cool. It is a godly king beard. But yeah, don't spam and don't put any weird slurs in the chat, and that's fine. I don't care. You guys can freaking...
Yeah, I just wouldn't say it to give them the idea.
Oh, well, I mean, they're free men. They'll do what they want to do.
Yeah.
Ain't that right, fellas?
It's like telling someone, don't hack me. It's like, well, you just invited it.
Oh, well, like saying the word. Oh, no.
Right,
oh, no.
Continue.
It begins the downfall.
The population has been convinced that voting third party is throwing away their vote. This is a self-fulfilling.
He said the word. What I think is, what, fuck it. Okay, he didn't say the actual N-word. He said Nigeria, one of the best countries. But, okay, legitimately, I do think it is funny that a lot of people at some point in their lives will say that word the bad way. Probably as, a small child. I think that's really funny. I think that's a rite of passage, low-key. Saying that word all fucked up and wrong. Actually, then there's the other one. There's Niger, which I think is really funny. Mr. Bombastic, why? They're just Mr. Bombastic wants to put me on fucking edge, man. He's testing me. He's testing my love of the people. But really, all people are equal, but some are more equal than others.
prophecy because it's not actually true. I mean, it's never happened. A third party's never won, I guess. But, if a majority of people in key states, voted for the Green or voted for Libertarian, there's no actual mechanism that, prevents them from taking office. There's no actual...
Gerrymandering. Also creating higher percentages of state funding for their election than
Watch it.
Campaigns.
Watch it, Mr. Bombastic.
Yeah.
I did open the floodgates. I'm retarded. Whatever. And I also said a bad word. Whatever, I'll just bleep it later.
Actual thing that would stop that from happening. Their candidate...
I need to make
there's also
sound.
nothing stopping a state from turning blue to red and red to blue.
What?
Because he said that there's nothing stopping a third party from winning, even though there are some structural problems.
Not all the migration to Texas from California that they're getting really mad about?
Some states will turn blue. Some states, like you say, Florida has now turned red. There's nothing stopping, technically, a state from swinging the other way. You see with Wisconsin, which used to be pretty red, and now that's turning blue. It's
What? You good?
Yeah, sorry, I just seeing what you're doing.
Okay. Just,
Yeah.
Just doing something.
Huh. We just put Mr. Bombastic on timeout?
For just a bit. I actually just want to try it out.
Okay.
I'm experimenting with features.
Okay.
Listen, Mr. Bombastic, we love you here at ThoughtDrought.
I mean, I don't even know if he can... I don't know what timeout means, so...
Yeah, I don't either. That's the thing. I'm using the freaking stupid Google menu. Whatever. It's because this stupid menu's blocked by this even dumber thing. Whatever.
Alright. You want to keep going?
Yeah.
would become president.
I'm getting stun locked.
Already moderating like a Discord. Well, if it was Discord, there'd be worse shit. Yeah,
I don't think I actually moderated him. I put him in timeout from the YouTube thing, but it gave me no.
Very communist.
I don't know what I did, so maybe I am like Stalin. I just sent him to the gulag and forgot about him. Oops.
There's nothing actually stopping a third party from winning other than the...
You know what? I'm gonna use the I'm a little drunk card. It's okay because I didn't abuse. I only drank 2. I don't drink that much. Actually, I barely drink at all. You freaking know I barely drink. But anyway. But yeah. Mr. Bombastic, if you're out there, know that we think about you always. I'm sorry, I got stun locked by the chat. I'm sorry.
Widespread belief that they just can't. So it's the very definition of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The two main parties, once again, Republicans, Democrats, I don't know why I need to specify, everybody knows. They're barely different on a number of issues, like foreign policy, Wall Street regulation, immigration, even issues that they seem like there might be some difference, like policing and guns. The difference between them is kind of marginal at best. Their rhetoric may be different, but when it comes down to the brass tacks of policy, they kind of behave in virtually the same manner. Like, the true difference between the parties, and therefore the areas that they both would like us to be most focused on as voters, are social issues. Like, Republicans... they present this vision of America like they want this traditionalist structure that harkens back to the 1950s ideal with the nuclear family, predominantly Christian, predominantly white, predominantly English-speaking. And the Democrats, they want it more like a rainbow coalition. We all love each other despite our differences. All races live in harmony. LGBTQ people are...
Shut up, TJ.
...bit as valid as heterosexual people. We all hold hands. We all sing Kumbaya. We are the world. It's a beautiful day. But at the end of the day, neither party's policies actually reflect any genuine desire to realize these visions that they've laid out to their respective electorates, right? Because that's like strictly campaign pablum. I mean, like if Republicans really wanted...
I mean, there is the Green New Deal. There was Biden's child tax policy. There was a few policies that are genuinely good that could help the American people. But, it is true. The majority of Democrats are paid by big business, by people, and it's really shitty.
Is this what I get for voting blue? A little. You're not entirely wrong. So, again, this goes back to something we said earlier in the thing. I think the Democrats just lack ambition. Like, that's the problem, is that, like, they're so focused on... At least the narrative I've heard is that Clinton pulled them out of the hippie thing, out of the super strong sort of like.
Well, I mean, Clinton was the start of the Blue Dog Democrats.
Yeah, that's the perspective I've always got.
Mm.
And that means like arguably the entire Democratic movement has been like stymied by this whole like we need to be moderate.
Mm.
That's a weird thing to have in terms of American politics, because it's like, I don't know, the rest of the world's doing all these things and we're just sort of like letting it go by.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing. Is my free speech going to be timed out? I said I loved you, corn slob. You're fine. Okay? Don't make me send you to the nether realm. I'm just messing around. Oh no, what happened to Corn? What happened to Mr. Bombastic?
Well, he might have left, or timeout meant he gets kicked. I don't know.
What? Oh no,
I
Mr.
mean,
Bombastic.
I don't know what timeout does, so.
I don't know either. Drunk lard ass, lol, you're slinging words a little. Shut up! No, I'm not. God, lard ass? Seriously? You know, that's mean, corn slob. I'm trying to lose weight. Okay. We all get fat sometimes.
1950s, they'd want to bring back the economics of the 1950s. Because, like, the biggest impediment to a single breadwinner household these days is not feminism. It's not some decline of moral values. It's the economic reality that most people can barely afford to, support themselves with a blue-collar job, let alone an entire family. If the Democrats really wanted to bring us into this progressive utopia, they wouldn't be passing giant
Drunk with power, god damn it. You're making me laugh, corn slob. That's why I can't ban you. And you're frustrating my co-host because I keep getting stun locked by you.
Spending bills. They wouldn't be signing off on big cash infusions to Wall Street. There wouldn't still be like kids in cages at the border. And there would be landmark anti-discrimination acts pushing back against the slow erosion of rights represented by this new radical Supreme Court. Democrats really don't fight those battles at all. Or when they do, they throw in the towel in the first round, right? Like, we put it to a vote, we lost, oh well, the votes aren't there. Well, find them, dude. Like, one and done, that's it? We tried? It's pretty obvious to me that the objective of both these parties is to preserve the status quo. And why wouldn't they want to preserve it? Because it's a status quo where they're in power. So, if you were them, you'd probably be trying to preserve it too. It's great for you, not so great for everybody else. And since, both these parties basically represent moneyed interest, corporate power, military power, they really can't center debate issues pertaining to any of those things. They're not ever going to talk about, like, the massive problems of income inequality in this country other than in the most superficial possible means, because they can't center that. Because if they center that, then they're going to be expected to draw a sharp contrast between themselves on those issues. And they just can't, because no sharp contrast actually exists. So it's just, we're going to virtue signal, you're going to virtue signal, and then we're not going to do anything different. So trans rights, obviously big issue right now, tremendously important. Black rights, tremendously important. Civil liberties in general, tremendously important to all of us. Important to humanity, important to the future of a free society. But you know what, who they're not really all that important to is like the top 1%, the military and corporate elites, the people in positions of wealth and power and near infinite privilege. They don't have to worry about any of those things because they already sort of exist in their own separate society with its own separate set of rules. They're kind of quarantined away from the average people. They get to live in a bubble that's very different than the rest of this country, where the rules are different and they're sort of blissfully unconcerned with our petty struggles. And they own both parties. Because, like, think about it. If you or I want to talk with the president, we could try with all our might to get an audience with him. And it would almost certainly never happen. But if any billionaire in this country wants to meet with the president, they can. Like, oh, how's your Tuesday? Money opens the doors of access. Money gets you into the senator's ear. Money gets big government subsidies passed that wind up in your pocket so that you can get even richer, so that you can buy even more politicians. And guess what? Democrats and Republicans are both on sale. And that's the status quo that prevents any real problems from being solved in this country. And I think most people, at the end of the day, agree with that. Because I've talked to people left, right, and center, and, this is one of those popular things you can say in any crowd of people. They all agree. So, with that being said, I ask you again, how did we get here? And how do we get out of here? The second question, I think, is the more important, to be honest with you. But, I know we don't get out of here by voting blue no matter who, voting red till we're dead, because that's how we got here. That's exactly what they, the elites, want. They want you to continue to greenlight the political power of their twin parties because they're afraid of losing. You know, you're afraid of losing.
You know, I will say this. When it comes to American foreign policy in particular, he's not wrong. American business policy. He is shaking with anger. But TJ is not wrong in terms of how America conducts itself.
Like Hillary Clinton, Gaddafi, we came, we saw him, we killed him.
Same with Trump. The Iranian general came, we saw him, nuked him from orbit.
Drone strikes.
Oh, yeah, sorry, drone strike, whatever. You get the idea. We blew his ass up. And it's like, you know, on the world stage, America acts like a belligerent fucking bully. So it's not totally wrong. And it's a shame that there's no other way that America feels like it can conduct itself. But that's also a part of the problem, right? It's like, do you think this is from a lack of participation? Because I do agree with you that on some level, you're right, voting blue no matter who, voting red till you're dead is a problem. But, like, look at the European countries. They have a higher turnout rate, like 85%. And they have more factionalism, but they also have more functional, more functional governments.
And also, like, if a lot of independents primaried in the Democratic, conventions, you primaried just a bunch of AOCs and Bernies into the DNC, then wouldn't the DNC become what you want?
I mean, yeah.
Like, what's stopping people from voting for more Bernies?
So you're a
voting for more
reformist.
AOCs.
That would be the counter a lot of LARPers would say. You're a reformist.
Well, I mean, sure, like, it is true that Biden got the student tax, the child tax return, that you can get taxes more for your kids. You get more tax refunds. There are good things that come from Democrat leadership. The fact that there was Roe v. Wade and, Republicans took it away, affirmative action. Like, there are good things that come from Democratic leadership. Is it better now that we have Obamacare? Like, arguably, yes, it is. We live in a better world now because pre-existing conditions doesn't turn you into a fucking, like, cautionary sign tail for any, like, company. They don't have to serve you.
That's one of the tricky things, is, like, when you ask, like, who has it helped? It's like, it kind of did help us in that way because we could stay on our parents' insurance until we're 26, and that...
And also, pre-existing conditions isn't as much of an effect. And it's just, there are tangible things that they do.
There are some, but there is an argument, I think, still to be made that our day-to-day lives are not that much different.
I mean, if you really want, like, a local funding for, like, a school or something, you need to vote in a local election.
Well,
but for things like, pre-existing conditions, that'll affect a lot of people in their lifetimes when they get older.
Maybe it's too ambitious to say it, but, like, our forefathers at one point fought for 40-hour work weeks when they used to work 60 to 100 hours, and they're dying, their kids were working next to them or working in chimneys, and now they went to school. It's like, they fought for change that was truly transformative, and it's a shame that our generation's incapable and so gridlocked that we can't do the same.
I mean, if you want to change your school board, go and vote for the school board. If you want to change directly in your city, there's local elections that'll help.
But do you not see what I'm talking about,
though? The thing is, a lot of people who even vote for federal and the president, yada yada, even state senate, they don't vote for school board. They don't vote for your local sheriff. They don't.
No, but I'm talking about just in general the fact that it was accomplished at one point. That kind of like, hey, we no longer work for 40 hours. We don't work for 100 hours a week, and we're not dying constantly from weird accidents or lack of safety standards. Like, truly transformative. Like, are we just truly out of ambition? I am sympathetic to that perspective on some level because I don't like that. I think we are just as capable as they are. We are definitely smarter than they are. So why can't we usher in that world in which it's truly transformative? I think the Green New Deal was a truthful, like, an actual shot at trying.
Yeah. Well,
that is the one shameful thing in terms of, hell, even Biden's original infrastructure
bill,
$3 trillion, that's transformative. But again, though, like, AOC had the ambition,
trillion,
Biden didn't.
Billion. I think you said billion?
No, $3 trillion.
Yeah,
right?
$3 trillion.
Sorry, I might have said billion. So there were some truly transformative things that Democrats had up their sleeve, but I might go, this gets way too long. I know, we ramble a lot. That's the one problem, substance abuse.
What little you have, they're afraid of losing your captive
TJ is the substance.
rote support. And so they orchestrated this system. They know how it works. They count on it working that way. So, am I taking a hardline stance, by the way, of never vote for the lesser of two evils? No, I'm not. If that's the vote you feel like you need to cast, I get it. I've done it. I may do it again. But what I am telling you is the only reason that the lesser evil is less evil in the first place is just to make it seem like you have a choice. At the end of the day, the evils are pretty much equal. The differences between them only exist to make you sweat and to keep you voting for the political duopoly.
And remember that RTJ lyric, you vote for the lesser two evils and the devil's still gonna win?
Yeah, but I just, like, you could argue, like,
It's reductionist.
yeah, and also, like, you look at some case like Bernie, you say, like, oh, the DNC stole the election from Bernie. Like, let's look at it the second time around, where basically it was Bloody Tuesday, and a bunch of the Democrat candidates all turned against Bernie and all sided with Biden. I mean, with the same line of logic, as long as you're willing to vote and wake up and vote for who you want. If enough people did it, Bernie could have won. There's technically nothing stopping Bernie from winning other than people voting against him. Like, it's not like the DNC made the votes shift and, rigged the ballots. They just had the coalition of people, which would be even stronger against a third party. That Bloody Tuesday is every Tuesday of the week against a third party. Like, and even then, even somebody like Bernie, who had to side with a blue dot Democrat, he is also technically actively going against the third party. I just don't see how. If Bernie couldn't win the Democratic Party, how are you going to win as a third party with even stronger forces against you? That's I
think it goes back again. We keep hitting this topic. It's incrementalism versus there's a lot of ways to frame it. Extremists versus incrementalists, reformists versus revolutionaries. It's always that dichotomy of when to push hard and when to push small, and it's like, what do you say? What do you do? It's hard for people to guess when these times are right, but at the same time, I think both groups need to exist. I think.
Yeah, I'd like if there was a multi-party system.
That's also true as well. The goal is to have a multi-party system, right? Where third parties become viable because of ranked choice voting.
Yeah.
So, I want a diversity of thought. I don't really like this weird, dichotomy we have now. So, yeah, I think... But at the same time, God, it's just we know that... I keep saying that word I hate it. We know that rights of minorities are sliding back. And that's the problem. That I understand that it keeps coming up. It keeps becoming an issue. Because
who gerrymanders minorities out of being able to vote more often? It would be Republicans. Democrats do it from time to time too, but
two parties benefit the 1%. Yeah. Sorry, that's what Corn Slob slid. Yeah, Corn Slob, you're right. Yeah, they do benefit the 1%. Washington warned us. I'll even go one step further. The Green New Deal that we both really like. Let's be real for a moment. The Green New Deal would have been a blank check to green companies. Granted, they aren't as big, and they don't hopefully have the same level of polluting on the environment as the oil companies did. But at the same time, it's still capitalism, the state-funded capitalism. We're going to still give them money invest in them so that they can make projects all over the country and change the grid. So, even in the best version of AOC's plan, it's still capitalism. It's still wheeling and dealing. So, I don't even disagree with you on that. But do we prefer that over what we have now? Maybe. Is it better to fight for change in the little bits that you can get it? Or is it better to just take the transformative approach, FDR and the unions and all that? I don't know. I think the philosophy of take what you can get. But it's I did it again. Take what you can get because that's life. The big victories and the small victories, it's still a victory, right? I don't know. I guess that's just the way I look at it. Any victory is a victory. little victories or big victories.
Yeah.
I don't think we should dismiss either.
So, like, let's say your tireless commitment to this principle of vote blue no matter who wins the day forever. Let's say it's a rip-roaring success and there's never another Republican president again. As far-fetched as that is, it's all Democrats from here on out. Does that solve the country's problems? Does it even have a prayer of doing so? And if not, what's really the point of it? But let's put fairy tales aside.
You move the country further left. Because then the battle becomes an internal struggle of who's the farthest to the left, which would be like the AOC squad group, and they'd have a lot more like strong leeway in the country. And people like Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, Joe Manchin, the people who are to the farthest right. So basically, the far right becomes Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and it's no longer somebody like J.D. Vance or Matt Gaetz. You know, like you basically... So what you effectively did was get rid of crazy fucks like Mitch McConnell. That's the world of the Democratic Party. You get rid of the farthest of the right, and basically the middle left is now your right. That, like, I mean, that's plain and simple. You've created a better world. Now, is it the perfect world? Is it a world that's going to be able to save us from climate change? Likely not, but it's only by moving further left will you reach it. I don't know how you're going to get there with a Green Party, third party. Well, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah. Cornself said 4 years is enough to make changes, and a presidential term can affect decades. Yeah, I mean, frankly, 4 years isn't enough. Most presidents get 8, and most of them who aren't even just half decent.
And
get
if the
8.
Democratic Party became the only party, you know, effectively their views and, you know, yada yada, there would always be Roe versus Wade. There would always be affirmative action. There would always be these structures that help people.
Mm-hmm.
They would no longer be a core issue to fight over. And issues would move further left.
Hopefully. Because at some point, if the Democrats do get full run of it, I don't want them to be the only party in charge. Is that what you're saying?
I'm just going off of his, you know,
well,
of
even
his
in
scenario
your
where
logic,
the Democratic
though.
Party had overwhelming victories.
But you know, in your logic, what you're kind of advocating for is like a one-party system.
I think the Democratic Party would just break into smaller coalitions within itself. That you would have like the Progressive Caucus fighting against other people within the same party structure,
But still under one party.
I mean, you might, if it's that big, you might see it break apart, and then effectively you'll have a third party come out of it.
Yeah, the thing is that I would hope Democrats would push for multiple parties, but I'll see you later. I don't know how long stream is, but I'll go. I have work. That's cool. Hey man, we are posting more clips, and we enjoyed you being here. So you have a good day at work, man. All right, back to TJ.
Side, because there's no way it's just going to be Democrats from here on out. The reality is that no matter how you cling to your orthodoxy of it's always better to vote for the lesser of two evils, the Republicans will have the White House again someday, and it won't be long. It'll be soon. It's going to be 2024 or 2028 or 2032. Traditionally, this country has bounced back and forth, so it's likely we're going to continue to do so. So really, the most you can realistically hope for with this strategy is to stave off the right for an election cycle or two, but their day will come, as it always does. And if you really want to beat them, not just for 4 years or 8 years, if you really want to beat them once and for all, you're going to need a party of fighters, a party willing to take on the root causes of America's corrosion, a party willing to fight for true leftist economic populism, as well as a robust social liberalism.
No.
And that party is not, at this point, in its current incarnation, the Democratic Party.
He's
so, like, I don't
back.
know, the way I see it,
You're back. Oh, good.
we either replace the Democrats with a progressive party or we reform the Democrats into a progressive party. And to my way of thinking, the only way you can really reform them into a progressive party is by starving establishment candidates of power, which means starving them of votes. If the Democrat running isn't at least as left as Bernie Sanders, who is a...
Or you could primary the blue dogs with younger blood like AOC, or primary them with people that are just more aligned with you like Bernie. Because, I mean, what if you just primary Nancy, Chuck Schumer, Joe Manchin with a Bernie-esque person? Like, wouldn't you effectively come to the same world? Like, I don't see how it's mutually exclusive or easier.
So, I kind of zoned out a little. What did you say? Just like...
of two evils, the Republicans will have the White House again someday, and it will stave off the right for an election cycle or two, but their day will come, as it always does.
Yeah.
And if you really want to beat them, not just for 4 years or 8 years, if you really want to beat them once and for all, you're going to need a party of fighters, a party willing to take on the root causes of America's corrosion, A party willing to fight for true leftist economic populism, as well as a robust social liberalism. And that party is not, at this point, in its current incarnation, the Democratic Party. So, like, I don't know, the way I see it, we either replace the Democrats with a progressive party, or we reform the Democrats into a progressive party. And to my way of thinking, the only way you can really reform them into a progressive party is by starving establishment candidates of power, which means starving them of votes. If the Democrat running isn't at least as left as Bernie Sanders, who is a centrist in my book, and I'm sure many of your books as well, then don't vote for them. Because the only way Democrats will realize they need to change is if all of their establishment candidates keep on losing. If progressive candidates win for the Democrats and establish us power from them, it's going to take saying, hey, if you put up a Joe Biden, if you put up a John Kerry, we're not going to just say, oh, well, lesser of two evils and vote for them. Because every time we do that, we're just saying, like, this is fine. You can continue to do this.
So the argument I've always heard from, like, Vosh was, in the times of the right gaining votes, most of the time, the reaction from the left will always be, we want to get the Republican out of there. And, there is one flaw to that logic that I did just think about just now. How Vosh would always say, if it was between, like, if the Republican's bad enough, they're just going to pick whoever Democrat is not, they're going to pick whoever. But there's always going to be, there's a point to be made with TJ, and I don't think he's going to make this point, but there's a point to be pulled from it that, we're always going to have a presidential candidate coming after a Republican for the most part, for the foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. So the logic of it always has to be the guy, not the Republican. That logic does kind of play itself out over time. I know Vosh's retort would be, just keep winning. But that's consequentially speaking, consequentially, that's just not what happens. It bounces. Mm. So maybe that is the point. Like, maybe in order to actually get someone in there, that maybe the point is that you need to get someone who's actually progressive, pro-labor, welfare and all that in there. But... And it's not good enough to just vote for someone who's not a Republican. But at the same time, I don't think that is a nod to non-voting. I think that's more or less you need to participate. Mm. Non-participation, I think, enables it. I think, and ironically, TJ makes the point that you should participate in politics at the very least.
Yeah. He's saying participate, but do it for third parties, because third parties are the way to go. They'll be able to have...
Red will rise again.
They don't have the strings attached to them by big money interests. But somebody like AOC is not that tied. She primaried a blue dog, was helped by people like Justice Democrats, and although she has to fall back behind people like Nancy Pelosi, the argument is that it would take time for somebody like AOC to become a head figure like Nancy Pelosi. Mm-hmm. And it wouldn't happen in the next day, or the next election. Maybe it would be like in her 50s where she would even be able to get to that top position. It would be elections out. But then again, if you want something fast, something a lot stronger like a third party, I don't know how you're going to sell to the American people that they'll be able to win within the next couple elections. History shows that third parties get pushed out, whether it's by, like, structural laws that the Democrats and Republicans put against them. They host the debates. They make it so that the percentages are higher and that they need a high percentage to get the federal funding for campaigns. I don't see how a third party will be able to do this change faster than just reforming the Democratic Party.
There's an argument to be made. TJ's made it in the past. I think you would agree that the left, or the Democrats, need a Tea Party-like party on their left, to their left. Mm-hmm. It's a shame that the Justice Democrats never flourished into something like that. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they might still, but haven't yet. Because, honestly, the Democrats need a swift kick in the ass. Mm-hmm. They're too complacent. And
it would be nice if they did have some force that pulls them further to the left. A force that garnered enough votes to say, hey, we can wager. Mm-hmm. But the Libertarians, let's be real, got there through a shitload of money. They had a lot of money. The amount of effort needed to do that from a grassroots level would be immense.
And at that point, there is an argument to be made that energy is better spent on the Democrats, getting progressive Democrats in. So it is a bit of a problem. The Democrats, it's like, those are better times to get far leftists in after Democrats have already been in there. which is ironic because basically you can blame everything on them, but you can still do the not that guyism on the right winger.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think we're gonna move on. TJ's point. I guess the problem I don't like with TJ's point is that there's a lot of non-solutions in this. There's a lot of not.
I don't like how you address that. There's a lot of laws and structures in place to stop third parties. There's so many things they do. The fact that there's no ranked choice voting, albeit there's some states like Oregon that are going to try to put on the ballot. It's like it's acting as if the only thing stopping third parties is the fact nobody has the will to vote. Which, if you truly believe that that is the only thing stopping them, then yeah, you get to the same belief. We could have had a Bernie Sanders presidency if enough people voted for him.
I think
Bloody Tuesday only worked because voters decided to side with, people people aligning with Biden.
I'm always been more sympathetic to I think to close off on this, because we've been on this for a while, I've always been more sympathetic to the extremist bent. Yeah, he has been rambling for 20 minutes. You're not entirely wrong, Mr. Bombastic. I'm more sympathetic to the extremist end of the spectrum. So I can understand there is a fundamental problem in the Democratic Party, and that is a fundamental lack of ambition. Because you're not wrong, incrementalism and being practical all have their time, but when Democrats actually get power, they do nothing with it. It is frustrating. Obama could have been one of the most... He could have been a president equal to FDR in ambition, and he squandered that.
Maybe on a local level within your city and your county.
Yes.
I could see, after all, Bernie Sanders is an independent in his state. In the state of Vermont. He is an independent. You get somebody like him because he's not held by the ties of the Democratic Party. But then again, he also knew you had to run as a Dem for the presidency.
Well, true, but I would only argue that we were going through one of the largest labor movements of all time. Which means that if there is a time to seize the Democratic Party, it is probably upon us. Or if not, it is nearly upon us. And it would behoove progressives all across the country to participate more and work with these unions. To endorse their movements, to walk alongside them, to have pictures with them, and then when you run, you show this off and you get their support, because you are not going to get the support of the police unions.
I was trying to see.
Oh, Mr. Bombastic. And that's really the end of it. You need to, if you want things to change, you got to participate in some capacity. Even if you don't want to vote, which I think is understandable. Anyway, let's move on. We've been on TJ for a while, and I got stun locked. So, oof. Gotta go. I'll catch you guys later on a better subject. Yeah, well, we're about to move on, so... It's up to you if you want to stay. Probably not, though. Okay. Where's our... There it is.
Here's our 8 o'clock.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I guess...
How long have we been streaming?
For a while. We can check right now.
Let's see. So we're hitting the 3 hour mark.
God. Just killing my computer. Okay, let's see. Wow, we got a lot of views. What the hell?
I think it's partly because of the shorts.
The shorts are fun. Anyway.
Nice.
Alright, I think we will cut it here. There's a lot.
Alright.
Alright, guys, I actually think that's probably it for now, because we have streamed for a while and we're both tired, but we appreciate everybody who dropped in, watched, and then left immediately. Goodbye and have a good night. We are about to log off.
Good night, y'all.